Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
And give me 30 seconds. I'll be better.
Good morning.
So move these wires over here and these cords over there. Ah! Oh, these headsets are good. This headset's great.
Good for you. I'm glad you're adjusting to your new headphones. All right, hats on backwards. That means it's business time.
Vibes time. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Hello to you. And how do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What's up, world? Great to be with you. Happy Monday, my dudes, my dudettes, my amigos, my amiguettes. I hope all is exceptionally well out there in Sportslandia. I hope you had a lovely, lovely weekend as we all get back to the grind today. My name is Rob Brown. It is my pleasure, as always, to join you here on the radio program. On the other side of the metaphorical glass, the guy in charge of this program and every program that you've ever even liked for a second. He is the great man, Lonzo. Hello, Lonzo.
How y'all doing? It's got way to clip the baseball. It's really good to see man. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Yeah.
Oh, man, I was really over his side.
My dog, XL. I was on.
What a wonderful day. Some unexpected rain this morning, but other than that, we're doing well. Did you get any rain? Get any rain on your side?
Yeah.
We come from opposite directions.
Yeah, we do. We do.
In life and and also in life.
That was very dramatic, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Good weekend. Got what we do this weekend. We had what we do. Did we do anything Friday? I don't think we did anything Friday. Saturday had the baseball show, noon to 4, bet for the cycle with myself and Cody Decker. Then Saturday evening took of course, Saturday being May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Took the lady friend. Actually, that's not true. She took me to go see the Greenville Symphony Orchestra in concert. One of the most unique things I've ever seen. They played the soundtrack to Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4, while they played the movie on a Jumbotron.
How'd they do? Did they?
Amazing.
Okay. All right.
Amazing.
Was it so? I'm guessing so they stripped the soundtrack from the movie and played the actual movie, and then okay. Was it overpowering? What was the mix like?
It was mixed perfectly. It was whoever was working the board was as much of a musician as the 120 people on stage with instruments, because they were wizard in mixing the audio. The audio from the movie was crisp and clear. You can make it out. As a elder millennial, I'd also like to thank them for having the closed captioning on while the movie was running, because that's a big part of my life now. You don't
have that movie memorized?
No, I do.
Okay,
but I needed her to like it. She had, I'm going to out her here, never seen a Star Wars. Not one Star Wars had been viewed. Because
she's too cool for it. I think that's, I don't know.
No, stop. Let me tell you why. And let me increase your fondness for her. Because she said to me on Saturday, when I said, that's bullcrap, how have you never seen a movie? She said, because I get more entertainment by the shock in people's faces when I say I've never seen a movie than I've ever gotten from a movie.
I think
literally something you've said to me.
I think we know. I appreciate that. Yes. And no, I still have never seen Back to the Future 2.
Exactly my point.
All right.
She said, I get more entertainment from telling people that I haven't seen them than I think I would get from seeing them. And I said, well, that ends tonight. So we saw the movie. It was very good. When I say they stripped the soundtrack, I'm even talking, Zoe, down to like within scenes where there might be like a little blurb of music to cover up a lack of dialogue while characters are walking or running or whatever. They were playing that. There was only one disappointment from that experience.
All right, I'm going to guess. Did they play the Cantina music?
They did not.
Okay, all right, because I was just thinking about that.
They did not.
Okay, all right.
The only disappointment was that they did not play the Cantina music.
Well, but
they let the movie play that.
Okay, hey man, you can't outdo that Bith crew. I mean,
it's hard to outdo perfection.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I was very. There were two things more than anything else. That's not true. There were three parts I was looking forward to the most. I was looking forward to the first theme. I was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to hearing them play the highlight music from when they give Han Luke the medals. And by the way, I never realized this before.
Yeah,
Chewie got the shaft.
Yeah, Chewie doesn't get one. He gets one later on.
Yeah.
I think it's
like a make good.
Yeah, it is.
It's a make good.
It is. Because
it's a makeup call.
He's a with and an and.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Chewbacca, despite the fact that he's the one in that spot that's actually shooting the guns because Han's flying. Chewbacca does not get a medal, but I was looking forward to hearing that music.
It's also ageism because Chewbacca's really old at that point.
Yeah,
and
but he's young for a Wookiee.
He is, but still, I mean, they make him stand in the back. It's hurtful. Now the droids don't get any either, but they don't like their kind there. So it's okay.
And then I was looking forward to the symphony orchestra playing the Cantina music. The Cantina Jazz, which is not called jazz in the Star Wars world, but I'm not going to say what it is called because I don't know if it'll get me in trouble or not. Because it does have a name that corresponds to something with very dirty, for those of you that have a dirty mind. Okay? So enjoyed it immensely. And then my favorite part of all, on the drive home, I was like, are you ready to watch more Star Wars? Are you in now? You've seen episode 4. You have seen the 1977 classic that started an entire universe. Are you ready for more? And she said, I don't know. She's like, I liked it. I don't know if I loved it. And I'm like, let it settle for a little while. All right, let it sit. Let it marinate. This isn't 1977. So yes, you're used to better graphics and better design and better unit costumes and all that. But like, let it marinate and I think you'll come around. And then yesterday, I had a round of golf scheduled with some of the fellas, which I left a little bit early because I needed to go pick up some more golf shoes, wanted to go get some new equipment for the bag. So I'm getting ready about 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:15 in the morning. And as I'm getting dressed and like cleaning up the clubs, I hear from the living room, and I'm like, what? And I walk out, and at 9 a.m., she is starting episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. And I was ever so happy. And then throughout the rest of the day, I started getting text. Great. When I started getting text with questions about Star Wars. For instance, she said, why does Yoda sound like a Muppet? To which I said, a Muppet he is. He's technically a Muppet. Jim Henson made him. And
voiced by Frank Oz.
Voiced by Frank Oz, who also voiced
Fozzie Bear.
Fozzie Bear. And she's like, yep, that checks out. I said he also voiced Sam Eagle, and he also voiced Anima. I can't do it right now. My voice is still cracked up.
Cinco de Mayo get you? Is that what?
No, actually, I don't know what's happened because I popped it at the Swamp Rabbits elimination game a week and a half ago, and it still hasn't come all the way back, which is not good for me. Anyway, she said, why is Vader's body all burnt up? And I said, well, I guess you'll discover the answer to that question in episode 3 when we get to the new trilogy. She at one point texted, just figured out Boba Fett is the bounty hunter. Why don't they just call people by their name? And I said, well, it's 1977. They didn't really know he was going to kind of become like a cult icon, A. And B, you don't call somebody by their name every time you talk to them, right? She said, Luke, and I quote, needs to shut up and listen. I said, yeah, there was a point in time for a while there where all of us thought Luke was kind of a whiny.
Not all of us. He's a teenager. He's depicted as
a whiny.
That's what a teenager does.
Yeah, a whiny.
Okay, all right. You couldn't bag
Leia.
Womp. No,
weird.
No, Womp Rats from your T16. You couldn't do that.
You don't know.
I don't know. You're right.
I might be a stud. You never know. Anyway, it was great weekend. And then yesterday got out, played the Furman course yesterday. And I suck at golf, but I enjoy playing. And that's the
Did
important part.
Did you just not finish last though?
Yeah, no, I did not finish last.
Okay, there you go.
I did not finish first, but I did not finish last. I don't honestly like. I think this weekend, I think I finally broke as a golfer. I think I broke because we got. I take this mentality onto the golf course. Great one of like I play 10 rounds a year, 15 rounds a year. I do not play enough to justify spending a ton of money trying to get good. I don't play enough or spend enough money to go spend like hundreds of dollars on lessons and great equipment. Like I've got good equipment, but like not top of the line. I'm not good enough. If I was going to play a lot more, I could justify going to spend the money. If I was going to be playing in tournaments around the year, I could justify spending the money, whatever. But I don't, so I don't. But I got out yesterday, and on the first 7 holes, I was piping drives. I mean, just slapping the ball, like 260, 265. And I know for a lot of y'all, that's not like huge. But again, I play 10, 15 rounds a year, piping the golf ball yesterday. And the problem was I was playing with the guy I haven't played for before. One of her coworkers came out and played with us. And he's not bad. He's pretty good. And I was like holding up with him for the first 6 holes. Felt real good. And then at 7 and 8, the wheels came off. The wheels came off, dude. Every iron was just screaming to the right. Like, I'm pretty sure I need to go back and apologize to the worms that I massacred by just screaming lasers across the grass. It was not good. And I was actually kind of disappointed in myself because I got to 11. And at this point, the game had just fallen apart. I played 6, 7 holes of really good golf, like some of the better golf I've played in a while. And then by 11, it was just catastrophe after catastrophe after catastrophe. Guy I never played with before at one point was calling me the tree guy because I hit a tree on like 4 straight holes. It's pathetic. It's embarrassing.
When's the last time you golfed?
February, my birthday, I think.
Okay.
So, like I said, I play like 10 rounds a year, most of them in the summer, right? I'm not good, but not being good doesn't stop you from wanting to be competitive, right?
Next time, just take a moment to yourself, channel your inner Diesel, and you'll get better.
Nope. I tried everything. I tried the angry golf. I quite literally on 10 stood at the back of the tee box and meditated to try to like calm myself down. That didn't work. Tried to change the swing mechanics. Tried everything.
You didn't say, get in your home.
Nope.
That's your home.
Nope. At one point, I think it was on 12. I think a long par 5. I don't remember. If those of you know Furman, you can correct me. Whatever that par 5 is in that range. You stand up there, you got an opportunity to just open up with the driver. I made the boys laugh, but I wasn't trying to. It was not a joke. I stood on the tee. I looked down the center cut of the fairway. You got, 300 yards before it cuts back to the left, whatever hole that is. Again, if y'all know Furman, you know which course I'm talking about. But basically, it's a grip it and rip it hole. I stood there. I got over the ball. I set the club down. Ball's on the tee. I looked down at the golf ball, and I went, you ball. And then I swung. And I crushed the golf ball. Crushed it. So I thought, all right, that's it, right? That's it. So we got up to the next shot. Next shot's going to be a 5-wood, just straight at it. And the drive was perfect. It landed to where there's a trap left, trap right. I got a run lane at the middle. I'm on in 2. Good 5-wood, I'm on in 2. I hit it, and it goes 7 feet, and I got more grass than golf ball. And you can hear the boys in the other card. You know that thing where your boy does something that's really, really funny, but he's also really ticked off so you can't laugh? You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously furious with the world right now. And even though he's furious, what he did is just hilarious. But you can't laugh in that moment because you know he's going to turn around and be like, hey, you too. I heard that from the other card. I heard it. I could tell. They wanted to chuckle. But I was furious. And then by 13.
Yeah, you would have hated me because I'd have been like, get all that one.
Well, by 13, I said to myself something, and I don't know if this is like mellowing out with age or if there's something wrong with me, or if like my new medication's kicking in or what. But by 13, the guy we were playing with, the new guy, we were up and down, back and forth, and he looked over and I step up and he's like, hey man, take it out on the golf ball. Take it out of the ball. And I looked at him and went, I don't care. I'm just here to have fun now. And I didn't care anymore. I did not care about competition. Funny enough, then I ended up birdieing 17 and 18, the only 2 holes on the damn day that I got anything done on. So like maybe that's the key. Maybe I'm over competing. Maybe I'm trying too hard. I don't know.
That absolutely can happen. And you get in your own head and you just got to take a step back.
My golf game?
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck.
Did you buy that shirt on the golf course?
No, I've owned this one for a while.
Okay, that looks.
This isn't a golf shirt.
That looks like you just got that out of the Kohl's package this morning.
No, man.
I can still see like the wrinkles where it was folded.
I've owned this shirt since before I moved here. What are you talking about? All right, we got a day lined up, ladies and gentlemen. A lot to get into. Great weekend as both Clemson and South Carolina baseball take big series. Carolina on the road at Mizzou. Clemson at home against the Ramblin' Wreck. Both of them win the one game, drop the Saturday game, pick up the Sunday game. We'll talk some college baseball. Obviously, we've got to get into the NBA. Cleveland eliminates Orlando yesterday, but that was not the biggest shock of the weekend as the Timberwolves freaking took it to Denver in game number 1. Did I sleep on Minnesota? We're going to talk about that coming up in a little while. The Braves get swept by the Dodgers. Guess what time it is? All that more coming up as we get the Rob Brown Show Monday edition underway right here on the Fan Upstate. All right, stream. Good morning. I hate that this camera is doing this. I'm about to make some of y'all nauseous. You're gonna get a real good look at the rest.
Could
of
have
the
like
studio.
took it off the thing before you.
Nah, I'll take everybody for a ride. Give you a tour of the studio.
Hey, maybe switch it with the other base over there.
Okay, because that one doesn't have a light on it.
No, you're missing the point. The base, the bottom part.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Maybe you're right.
Troubleshooting is what I do.
Let's see. I wonder if it's over there for the exact same reason.
It's over there because I put it over there. That's why it's over there. So you wouldn't knock it down.
There's the roof if you wanted to. Well, I think this one's in the same boat. Yep, same boat. So I guess once you take the rod out, it's never going back. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the roller coaster and enjoy Beard Cam until I go and get my own tripod that I will clearly be bringing in.
Hey, you know, well, even though it's Beard Cam, that thing will lean back, the camera part. You probably should, well, that needs to go back where it was or Cole will freak out.
Cole can deal with it for a minute.
Well, I'll get blamed for it.
Back after the show.
Okay. No, you won't. I'll remember to do it. I'll come around there and do it in a minute, but I'm not leaning down by you right now.
Good call.
Yeah. No, this thing will lean back inside the thing.
What do you mean?
The camera will angle. You can,
I mean, it's as
Okay.
good as it's going to get. I need it elevated. I need my camera at eye level. That's where cameras are supposed to be.
Okay. If you want it to look like a podcast and not a radio station, I mean, you know, that's what you guys like.
This
I
is
mean,
TV
you know,
level.
that's
I mean, that's not an opinion. That's a fact.
no, it's just it's too close to your face to be TV. They don't get in that tight unless something dramatic is happening.
Always dramatic on this show. Like, I don't even understand what broke.
Stick some gum on it. You're going to obsess about that for
You
the
don't even
entire.
know.
No,
You don't
I
know.
do
It's all that
know.
matters in my
I
world.
absolutely know.
This is what I'm working with here, people.
You got anybody out there with a washer? or something, some sort of rubber thing that
Need
he could
something
put
that
in it.
clamps. Like a paperclip. Ah, paperclip will work. Not a paperclip. What do you call those black things?
Yeah, I could send an email to engineering saying that you're really struggling with this, and I could use an engineer to come here and help. And then
Right.
Chris will be on the show for the entire 3 hours
My
trying to
OCD
fix
is
it.
Just 10 out of 10 right now. And a complete aside from everything that's going on, I found my wedding ring yesterday. It's made out of Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil and meteorite.
I'm not buying that. It sounds cool though.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, Does it come with DNA to prove it?
2 tongues. It comes with a full-on certificate of authenticity.
Okay.
And you can't fake those. It's against the law.
You're right.
No, it's actually a very reputable company that makes them. And I'm spending dramatically more than I should for it, but it's really cool. It's on the outside, it's ringed with tungsten. And on the inside, it's 2 bands. One on one side it's crushed Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil. And on the inside, it is meteorite from a meteor that hit in South Africa.
Do you know if you're allergic to meteorite or tungsten or
I have no idea.
Or T-Rex?
We'll find out after I spend far too much money on this ring.
Your finger swells up so much you have to cut it off. Yeah, okay.
That would suck. That ring sounds like a plot to a Smallville episode. Mini rant time. Gotta get it out early, right? Yesterday, I was perusing the interwebs, getting ready for the show as I am wont to do on a Sunday evening, getting ready for the show, just trying to get set up. Well, Nick Saban is, I don't know, what do you want to call him? An icon in the land of college sports. I think he's made it to that point, right? Nick Saban is the Beyonce of college football. He's the Tay-Tay of college football at this point. And that's fine. But sometimes he bothers me a little bit.
Only sometimes?
A few times he bothers me a little bit. He just has this way of saying that one thing that I'm like, dude.
Like he's speaking right to you.
Yeah.
I'll say this to make Rob Brown mad.
You say this because you know the quote I'm about to play.
Absolutely do not. Okay. I do not. No.
Okay. It would have been really funny if you did. So Nick Saban was doing some kind of meet and greet, some kind of TED Talk of college football or whatever it is. And once again, Nick Saban was lamenting the future of college football. You should join us on the stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate. I'm winning freaking Emmys over here.
You need whatever that is. I want to say snot rag. That's not a hanky. You need a hanky. Yeah.
A kerchief.
Yes.
Oh, the drama of college football's landscape, ever changing as it is. So Nick was discussing the state of college football and its trajectory. And for some reason, he decided that he needed to pop off on those unqualified internet havers. Here is what Nicholas Lou Saban had to say about those of you that have the audacity to talk out on the internet about college football.
It amazes me that some guy sits in his basement, probably in his mom's house, probably in his underwear, probably overweight, and he puts something on the internet and anybody cares about what he thinks.
Ha 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 ha.
Was that ever funny?
Yeah,
About
it was one time. You want to know what was funny?
the mom's
Just sit
basement
at
thing?
home in your grandma's basement with the drawers on, typing on your damn keyboard. Shut the hell up.
Give Chuck his line back, Nick. He's already said it. It's not you.
We've said this many times. I want to say this again. I wish my mom would have had a basement. Man, that thing would have been sweet if I had my room down there. That would have been so cool.
Nick, check it, dog. I like you a lot. You are one of the, I mean, you aren't on the Mount Rushmore of college football head coaches. You got your own thing. There's the Mount Rushmore over here, and then there's like the Washington Monument over here. It's just you. It's just you. But in this case, it is fitting I used the Washington Monument because of something that you sound like when you talk like this. All right? I like Nick Saban quite a lot. It's phallic, Lonzo. I'm making a joke about Nick Saban being a you-know-what. That's all. That's it. Because I got that caliber of humor.
What? Did I look confused or something?
Yeah, you were like, and I was like, oh, he doesn't know I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was playing for the cameras,
okay.
man.
We're both winning Emmys over here.
Yeah.
Nick, it's our game too, bud. It's our game too. And yes, there are some people who use the internet for evil. There are some people who use the internet to be a hater or a loser or a jackass.
You're just a loser or a jackass. You can be A or B.
Yeah, you can.
You say some. There are a lot of people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
A whole lot.
But here's the thing, Nick. Just because there's some, I'm going to use Chuck's words, A, losers or B, jackasses out there on the internet, it doesn't mean that you're the only guy qualified to talk about what the sport should look like. It is our sport, my guy. Like, congratulations on making billions. I'm not billions. I'm being dramatic here. Congratulations on making hundreds of millions of dollars by being a football coach. Congratulations. I am envious, and anyone who says they're not is a liar. I'm very jealous of you. And I am happy that college football provided you the ability to buy like 1911 houses. You got a lake house over here and a house over there and a mansion over there and this car and that car. And congratulations on all those things. I am not a hater. I am not.
They like to drink their haterade and eat their hater tots.
Eating my haterade or drinking my haterade and eat my hater tots. I am super stoked for you. I wish that I would have gotten into that game and maybe had a crack at being a great coach because of my knowing ball and all that. And maybe I'd have made $300 million or whatever it is you made. But because you made that much, because there was this game, that doesn't make you the only one qualified to talk about it. My man, it's our game. Do you think that you are making $300 million over the length of your career if there's not 100,000 people packed in Bryant-Denny Stadium throughout the course of your tenure? No, there's not. Do you think you're making $300 million if people aren't tuned in every Saturday to watch college football? No, you're not. As much as I understand why you feel like you are the ultimate voice of the sport, and yes, I am sure Nick Saban has forgotten more of the inner workings of college football than all of us combined will ever know. But this whole thing about, oh, you know, it's just, if you talk on the internet, you're a fat guy in your underdrawers down in your mama's basement. First off, some of us moms didn't have basements, Nick. All right. Second off, if I want to hang around the house in my boxer briefs, you leave me the hell alone. It's comfortable. All right. I pay for air conditioning for that exact reason. Third off, some people actually care about the sport. I know it shocks you, Nick. I know it shocks you. But the 100,000 people who pack Bryant-Denny on a Saturday, they care about the sport. I promise. the millions of college football fans who get up every Saturday and they watch their game day and they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different TVs going so that they can watch every game available to them all at the same time. It's going to surprise you. They care about college football too. Everybody cares about the sport, my man. It is the most beloved sport, at least in the area that we live in, certainly in the area you live in. So this belief that fans who comment on college football on social media or on their podcast or on their blog or whatever else are all fat losers in their mom's basement plugging away at their keyboard while eating some Doritos and drinking some Mountain Dew, it ain't right, my man. It ain't right, because here's the fact, Jack. If it wasn't for those fat underwear-clad losers in their mom's basement, you would be what? Working a gas station or whatever, right? Like that's what you would be. Because this sport gave you everything you have. Gave you everything you have. And I know he probably would have ended up coaching in the NFL. We saw how that went. But he would have probably been a career assistant coach in the NFL, and I'm sure he would have been fine.
A college professor or something. Why does he automatically go to the gas station?
He told a story one time of him and Miss Terry, his wife. They were driving back in West Virginia where he's from, and I don't remember if it was like metaphorical or if it really happened, but he said they like bumped into the guy that she was gonna marry before she met Nick, and now he works at a gas station, so he like cracked on that guy. He's like, you could have been with that guy. Instead, you're with a multimillionaire head coach of the Alabama football team. And it's like, real funny joke. What if that guy's awesome, dude? What if he's like a really cool dude, man? I don't know about you. I've met some really badass people with some interesting stories in gas stations. What if that dude's super cool? The point here is,
I try not to make eye contact. I mean,
I like meeting people.
Seen a lot of interesting tattoos.
That's also fair. Some probably given at gas stations. The fact here is that I like Nick Saban a lot. I always have. But there is one quality about him that drives me up a wall, and it is this. He thinks he's just above you. Like I said, he knows more about the game than any of us will ever know. I'm not going to push back on that. But this whole attitude, like we as fans should not be allowed to comment on the game, should not be allowed to have opinions about the game, should not be able to give our thoughts about the game, or else you're a fat underwear-clad loser in your mom's basement, is, what's the word? Obnoxious as hell, man. It's our game, Nick. You were a steward of it, and a fine steward of it, but it is our game, not yours, big dog. Sorry. Let's take a break. Come back after this. Wrap up hour number 1. Rob and Lonzo with you. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
So was that the worst tag team match of all time with Jade Cargill? Did you see how bad that was? That was bad. I was embarrassed for her. It's like, okay, there's a reason why they've been holding her back. Well, I was also yelling, come on, Bianca. But maybe she got overwhelmed by the crowd. I mean, apparently that was one of the loudest crowds they've ever been in front of, period.
Bro, them singing Randy Orton's theme was incredible.
Yeah, and when they showed the Steadicam and it was bouncing.
When they were showing Jay's from behind Jay.
The eating, yes. Slow down. Drive safely.
Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help? I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 US-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drive, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Good morning, James.
Countless fixes, elbow grease, and new radiator. You kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be a perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash.
So how do you stop your cat from swiping at you when you walk by?
Water bottle. Every time he does it, so it stops. Does he hit with the claws or just the paw?
Oh, it's claws.
Oh, water bottle.
Yeah.
If he's just pawing at you, he's just playing. I mean, he's still just playing with you, but
No, I know, but Lisa and I both have bled this weekend, and my former leg wound is just a big old scar now.
Yep.
Almost got that yesterday, and I was like, I don't know what would happen if that gets punctured.
Lonzo's Adventures in Cat Parenthood is my favorite ongoing saga.
It's not fun for us,
Oh, I know. Been there,
little
done that.
punk.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Rob of the Great Malonzo with you on a Monday morning. Let's talk some results from the weekend, shall we? Paulo Banchero is a dude, man. Not enough of a dude to prevent his Orlando Magi from getting dumped in game number 7, round number 1. So the Magic are out of this thing. But just a dude. I enjoy watching this cat, man. Like, this guy deserved far more love than he got this NBA season. This team, this Orlando team, I do not like to say something like the future's super bright for this team, but the future is super bright for this team. This team has got potential, as RG3 would say, out the wazoo moving forward. And based around Paulo Banchero, the kid's a star. 42 minutes, 10 of 28 from the floor, 3 of 6 from deep, 15 of 18 from the stripe. What I loved about this game from Banchero is he realized he just was not going to get help. Franz Wagner, who has been the Robin to Paulo's Batman in this game, Lonzo, 1 of 15 from the floor, 0 of 5 from the arc, 7 rebounds, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. And in a game where Paulo Banchero recognized, all right, Franz is having an off day. Harris gave me 3. Suggs gave me 10. Wendell Carter Jr., the next highest scorer, with 13. When he came to the realization that there was nobody coming to help, that he was on his own at that point, what did Paulo Banchero do? Put the head down, go to the rack, get the call. That's it. Put the head down, go to the rack, get the call. Wasn't enough to overcome Donovan Spida Mitchell. And I love this cat, too. If you did not hear Spida's post-game press conference, actually, before he left the floor, post-game interview, before he left the floor, he was getting interviewed. And the young lady interviewed him was like, where'd this come from? 39 points for Donovan Mitchell, 11 of 27, 15 of 17 from the stripe. Where did this come from? And he said, I just didn't want to go home. Just didn't want to go home. I didn't want to lose again. I'm tired of losing. And he put that team on his back and carried him. But this Orlando team, that was so dramatically out of the norm for Franz Wagner. That was just out of the norm for this guy. This guy was averaging across the last 10 games 19.16 points. He was averaging this season against the Cavaliers, regular and postseason combined, 16 points a game. He was averaging on the road 19 points a game. And he came up empty in this one. Paolo Banchero shouldered this load. I love this kid. I love this player. And they've got him locked in for a couple of years. And I love that. There are, to me, a couple of young teams that I think it's fair to say that's the future right there. Orlando absolutely is one of them. For a team that just has a legacy of not doing a damn thing since Shaquille O'Neal left, I feel like they've got their key piece to build around. Like, Paolo Banchero is what the Pelicans thought they were going to get in Zion Williamson at this point, right? That's the cat you thought you were going to get a 38-point in a Game 7 performance regularly out of Z, and instead it's the new Duke fella, Paolo Banchero. And by the way, called this cat as a star. That Duke team played here in Greenville in the opening round of the NCAA tournament last season, not this season, but last. And we got to watch that guy play in person. And I called that shot the night I saw him. I'm like, that guy's got NBA on him. That guy smells like an NBA legend. That guy smells like he's going to be somebody one day. And not going to say nailed it, but nailed it. Love that team. But there's the other game that I wanted to get into. Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. 106-99, the Minnesota Timberwolves knock off the Denver Nuggets and take a 1-0 series lead. So, my question here is, did I sleep on Minnesota, or was I overconfident in Denver?
Or did what I brought up last week and some other people that, maybe Los Angeles actually showed a blueprint of how to beat Denver?
They showed a blueprint by losing 4-1.
They were up on them 20-something points every single game. Timberwolves are a younger team. They get up on a team, they're not going to let up. And that's kind of what happened, right?
I think that there's like 3 different angles that I took to this game.
You just don't want to give it to me. That's fine. That's
no,
fine.
It's not that
I'll take it anyway.
It's not that I don't want to give it to you. It's that I don't agree with you. I don't think the Lakers did anything special. I think the Nuggets stuck to the script that they have stuck with for the past couple of years.
They showed that Denver is vulnerable. That's what they did. That they're not world beaters. That another team can beat them in a series.
I disagree. What I'm disagreeing with is that. What I'm disagreeing with is go back to last year's playoff run. They were the best team in the NBA, and it didn't feel particularly close last year. They weren't exhilarating. They never had been. It's not their game style. Their game is not to be exhilarating. Their game's to be good. Their game's to be good. Their game's to rope-a-dope you to sleep. Their game is to let you wear yourself out. And granted, that game plan works better against LeBron than it does against Jamal Murray, for sure. Against Anthony Edwards, for sure. And by the way, is Anthony Edwards the next star of the league? And why is the answer yes?
The answer is yes, because everyone's putting out there that he's Michael Jordan's kid. So that's how they're going to push it. He is really good, though.
He is really good.
Yeah, he is.
43 points, 17 of 29 from the floor, 3 of 7 of deep, knocked down 6 of 6 from the strike.
If he wins the championship, for sure.
Kid's a star. So I think there are 2 things at play here. I think, number one, Denver's strategy of rope-a-dope you to sleep does not work as effectively against young teams. And for all that I've sat here and talked about with the Lakers series, because you are right, LA led the first quarter and first half of every single game. They led the first quarter, first half of every game. And Denver did in individual games, this has been my take from the beginning, Denver did in individual games what their basketball team has done in series for the past 2 years. They go, I don't care if you're up 20. I don't care. I don't care if you lead at the first half, because you don't get half credit for a first half lead. You get credit for one thing and one thing only, a dub. That's it. And so they lean back on the ropes and they bob and they weave and they move the head and they move the shoulders, and you're throwing haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. And then you get to the point that you realize, I've hit once or twice. I mean, you're going to land a couple of shots on the jaw. You're going to land a couple of shots. You're going to do all right. And then you're going to go, let me back up. Let me reset. And as soon as you take those 2 steps back to catch a breath and to reset your offense, the next thing that you know, here comes Denver on the march, cutting the ring in half, coming right at you, and they are ready because they aren't exhausted. They feel good. They feel real good because they're not tired. They're feeling in good shape, right? So I thought that would carry over. I think there's one thing that we ignored. The Timberwolves swept the Suns. I think all of us kind of looked and went, it's the Suns. The Suns are good. Kevin Durant's good. Devin Booker is good. Devin Booker is another one of those guys that's like future of the league. And I think we just all forgot to acknowledge that the Timberwolves swept that team. The more I thought about this after this game, I want you to know, I sat there when the final of this game came across. Like I was in the bro cave, and I went and I pulled the highlights and I watched him and I watched him and I watched him and I watched him. And I came across a couple of things. Number one, Anthony Edwards is a star. Number two, Karl Anthony Towns, as good as he is the perfect supplementary player for Anthony Edwards. Perfect supplementary player for Anthony Edwards. And so I'm watching this game play out, and I'm thinking to myself, I just ignored a sweep of the Suns. That's a series I thought was going 6 games. I thought Minnesota would win it, but I thought it was going 6 games. I thought that if Devin Booker had a couple of 35-point nights, Phoenix could make it interesting. He did, and they didn't. We all just walked right past it. So I think there is a little bit of something to it. I'm not going to say Lonzo's 100% incorrect. There's a little bit of something to the theory that LA showed you what offense works. The difference is Minnesota had the stamina to take it all the way through 4 quarters. And I think Denver thought that their traditional game plan was going to work. I think Denver thought we can just rope-a-dope them. We'll just rope-a-dope them for 3 quarters, and then we'll blow them up in the 4th like we always do. And then when it got to the 4th quarter, Anthony Edwards looked across the court and gave the little finger wave like, nah, I'm still good. I own a treadmill. I'm in shape. I'm good to go. I think I think we all I think me all overlooked that sweep of the Suns. I don't think we gave it the credit that it deserved. I don't think we gave it the credit. I don't think we gave Minnesota the credit for what they accomplished in that opening series. Everybody was dialed in on discussing Denver. And they're the reigning defending undisputed NBA champions. Of course, that is what we are going to discuss. But everybody was locked in on Denver and what Denver is and how Denver can do it. And we all just glanced right past a sweep of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Like it was nothing. I don't know. I turned around because on Friday, I was sitting there. I'm like, you know what we should do Monday? We should power rank the remaining 8 teams in the NBA playoffs. We got 4 on each side. We should power rank them moving into the conference finals. And then this game happened. And I'm like, I got no idea how to rank these teams. Because all of a sudden, Minnesota, after a sweep of Phoenix and a road dub on over the Denver Nuggets, with Ant-Man playing the way he's playing, with Cat playing the way he's playing, Zoe, if you're sleeping on the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're wrong, dude. This team's legitimately good.
I don't want to do that thing, but I'm going
say
to. It's just one game, Rob. We'll see what happens in the next game. If they sweep Denver,
I don't think I'm ready to go that far. It is no Nikola Jokic.
Well, you didn't think they'd win one game like they did, so we'll see.
No, listen.
You are not alone with that in that belief. I'm not saying that you singular. You're the only one.
I called this series to 6. I just didn't think game 1 was going to be one of the 2 Minnesota took. I thought maybe they could snag a game 2, then grab one at home, take it back to game 6 in Denver, or take it back to game 6 in Minnesota, maybe lose on the home court, maybe goes to 7 and lose in Denver. But no matter what series dubs and L record I drew up, I did not have Minnesota going into Denver's house and laying them down.
This could be back and forth blowouts, though. Denver could come back and blow Minnesota out. I mean, they definitely are capable of doing that.
These are 2 real good teams, man. 2 real good teams. I am yoked about this series. This series is going to be phenomenal, I think. All right, coming up in hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Radio program, we have got your water cooler cheat sheet out the gate. Top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this relatively dreary Monday morning and start talking sports with your coworkers. We'll give you the biggest headlines from the weekend. Then the Bravos went on the road out to their NL rivals, the LA Dodgers, with something to prove. And yeah, they proved something, all right. Not what they wanted to. So we'll talk Braves Dodgers as the Bravos get swept on the road at LA, and it was not a pretty sweep. They got it handed to them. So we'll talk about that and what that means for the future moving forward. We'll get some college baseball in here as both the Clemson Tigers and South Carolina Gamecocks both picked up a big series win this weekend. So we'll set you up with that. We'll get some hacky in here. The Carolina Hurricanes find themselves in a hole by a game as they lose on the road to the Rangers in game 1. We'll break that game down and more. A lot to get to, a lot to talk about, and it's all coming up over the next 3 hours of electrifying sports talk entertainment. But before we get to any of that, it's Monday, friends. You always want to set the mood on a high. You always want to set the tone as positive as you possibly can. And nobody is going to start your day off in a more energetic and electrifying way than the great one with a sports flash.
I am your energy drink, and I'm free. South Carolina's baseball team took 2 of 3 to win a road series at Missouri with a 9-4 win yesterday. Starter Dylan Eskew was bounced after surrendering 4 earned runs and a 1.1 inning, but Garrett Gainey and Connor McCreary picked up the next 6.1 with no runs allowed. Cole Messina and Blake Jackson both recorded 3 of the Gamecocks' 13 hits, while Dalton Reeves and Gavin Casas each had 2. Clemson baseball took 2 out of 3 against Georgia Tech with a 9-2 win at home yesterday. Aiden Kunak and Billy Barlow both hurled 4 innings, giving up 2 and 3 hits respectively, while Cam Canarella and Jaron Purify, whatever, both had multi-hit days. And make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 because Diesel's back on Wire to Wire, and it's going to be good. Man, my sinuses just went nuts.
I do not welcome the Philadelphia Phillies, James. I can't stand the Philadelphia Phillies. Trey, you should get into golf, man. It's a great game. It is the most frustrating thing you'll ever love. It is easy to love and easier to hate.
Yeah, there's defense in wrestling. So his argument is just out the window.
Hell yeah.
I found a cut of mine that's missing. I knew there was something else missing.
Told ESPN on Thursday. Here's the deal. Boise State. You get in or you out. There's no questioning. You see, there's a lot of money at the table. And if you would like to take in this money, you're certainly more than welcome to. We would love for you to be a part of what we're building here in the college football playoffs. But to think that you should get an equal cut with us, the Southeastern Conference, the Big Ten Conference, the two families, crazy. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go home to your beautiful home, by the way. It'd be a real shame if something happened to it. You're gonna go home. You're gonna talk amongst yourselves, and you're gonna realize that what we're offering you is very generous.
Don't hit snooze. The Rob Brown Show, now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
Where'd it go? I don't know where it went.
That final drive in regulation is why Mahomes is just that dude. If it feels like you were watching a movie that you had seen so many times before, it's because you were watching a movie that you had seen so many times before.
Jim Rome in the jungle.
I guess I'll just have to re-record it.
That's what the words are. I don't know what you would tell you.
Yeah, but now it's in my head too, and I don't like that because I actually know the words. And
Adrenaline. in my soul. Something, something, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Do you know all the words?
Yeah, I've sung it with you.
Do I hear voices in my head?
They talk to me. They understand. They talk to me. That crowd was unbelievable. And away we go into our numero dos, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show is in your ear holes. Great to have you. Happy Monday to you. Robin the Great One Lonzo with you. This and every Monday morning into infinity. Maybe. We'll see. See how long we want to do it.
Except for, on holidays when
Except for
we're
holidays.
not here.
Various vacation weeks.
Yeah, there's some of those. So, like sometimes people get sick.
Yeah.
Those days.
Sick days. Flex days. Might take a Monday, 3-day weekend, But outside of all those Mondays, every Monday, if you don't count those.
At least this Monday.
For sure, this Monday. As far as I know, we'll be finishing the show with you today. So, nothing's guaranteed. So, let's get into it. It is just after 7 o'clock in the AM portion of the day, which means you are now 58 minutes and 23 seconds away from having to punch in. Don't be late. Don't be late. It's Monday. Boss hates when you're late on Monday. You're going to answer those quick passive-aggressive emails. You're going to fake type some stuff into a computer so your coworker in the next cubicle over, Barb, the snitch, so Barb doesn't turn you in. And once you get to that point, and once you're having that sort of day.
Yeah, bangs went out like a long time ago.
Barb, get over it.
Come on, Barb. Get a new hairstyle.
Do better, Barb. Once you get to that point, you're going to take your first break of the day. A well-earned break, by the way, if I may say so myself. You're going to walk down that long, dark hallway down to the break room where the water cooler is. You're going to stand around it with some of your coworkers, and you are going to start talking sports with your coworkers. And if you're going to do that, you got to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you got to know what's going on in the world of sports, you're going to need this. Yeehaw! It's the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers. Let us, ladies and gentlemen, dive right in with item number 1. I don't mean to set anybody off. I don't mean to start the water cooler cheat sheet off on a negative. I don't mean to be that guy, but the Atlanta Braves are in trouble already.
Nope.
They're in trouble.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
They fall to 20-12 after being swept on the road by the LA Dodgers. It started off with a very good game on Friday night. Friday night, the Bravos found themselves in a 2-2 tie after 9, went into the 10th. They were able to score the freebie runner at second to take a 3-2 lead. They could not prevent the LA Dodgers from equalizing in the bottom of the 10th. To the 11th we go. The Bravos in the 11th cannot score the free runner on second. The Dodgers do. Andy Paz, a fresh call-up face, getting his opportunity in the Dodger lineup playing center field, had a 4-hit night, including a bloop single over the second base spot into the outfield that scored the runner from second. The Dodgers win 4-3. Then we go to Saturday night. I didn't watch Saturday night, and I'm real glad I did, or did not, I should say, because Max Muncy was a stud. 4 hits, 3 of them dingers. Max Muncy owned Bryce Elder, who went 3.1, gave up 7 with 7 earned runs, just 4 strikeouts and 4 walks to match. It was ugly. 11-2. Your final, the Bravos managed 6 hits scattered across that game. And then yesterday, you thought at least don't get swept. At least don't get blanked. Don't worry, they did. The Bravos 5-1 losers yesterday. You sent out Max Fried. Max Fried, who has been quite hot as of late. 7 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks, but surrendered a pair of dingers to a young man by the name of Shohei Ohtani, who got hot in this game. The Bravos dropped 3 out of 3 on the road at LA. That one is going to hurt a lot when it comes down to determining who's going to be the 1 seed. And I am comfortable now in saying that all the hype, all the talk, all the juice about the Braves lineup, boy, they better figure it out. Better figure it out. Because when you are, and in fairness, they actually equaled the Dodgers hit total on this game. Both teams only had 5 hits in this game. It's just that Shohei sent his 2 in the contribution to that 5, about 9,000 miles away from Orange County, California.
I've been sold a bill of goods here. I thought I was going to get genuine panic, and I'm not sensing it yet. I don't think you're there where you've been the last couple of years.
I don't know how you don't feel that
I
way.
think you're building because there's a look in your eyes. You just gave a positive about the Braves as if that there's still a chance. Usually when you panic, there's no chance at all.
Let me tell you where I'm at right now with this team. In fact, you know what? No, I'm not, because it's 7:07. Hold tight, because we're coming to this. I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm panicking about this team right now. Because it's not just the fact that the team you are supposed to be competing against for the 1 seed in the National League is now ahead of you in the standings. It's the fact that there's another team that is ahead of you in the standings, and it is far more detrimental. We're going to talk about that coming up here in just a little while. But let us get to item number 2. Major news for the basketball programs of both Clemson and South Carolina. Let us begin with Clemson. Clemson star PJ Hall officially headed to the NBA. They have lost Godfrey. Now they have lost Hall. And I'm going to tell you right now, as much as I golf clapped Brad Brownell last year because he did a great job, I don't care what you say. He did a spectacular job getting that team to where he got that team. This offseason is going to be a pain in the buttocks for Brad. Why? Because he's got no power players left on the roster. PJ Hall headed to the NBA draft. He put out a statement that said, for 4 years, I poured absolutely everything I had into Clemson. I wouldn't change one thing about my career. With that being said, I will be chasing my dream and entering my name into the NBA draft. 4 years ago, I made what I now know to be one of the best decisions of my life, to be a Clemson Tiger. These last 4 years, God bless me with such an incredible school team, coaching staff, and fan base. I can't thank him enough for doing so. Without Jesus, none of this would have been possible. I want to specifically thank all of my teammates and coaches for believing me throughout my career. You helped propel me to where I stand today, and I couldn't be more proud of what we accomplished together. During his career with the Tigers, Hall earned all ACC honors twice. As a senior, averaged 18.3 and 6.4 boards per game in his career, averaged 14.2 and 5.3 per game. PJ Hall headed to the show. He is a mid to late second round pick. I like the guy, hard-nosed, gritty guy. He's a late second round pick. He's a cat that's going to be, I think, kind of in that long career, but career journeyman guy. He's the guy that if your big man goes down somewhere along the line, you pick up PJ Hall from wherever he is to come fill in the gap for you for a little while. But we'll see. We'll see. On the flip side, over in South Carolina, an acquisition for that team. South Carolina had been waiting to find a point guard. They were going to need a point guard. Well, MEAC Player of the Year, MEAC Newcomer of the Year, senior Norfolk State transfer guard Jamari Thomas flipped his commitment away from VCU and is headed to South Carolina. The 6-foot-tall, 185-pounder led the Spartans last year, averaging 17, 3.8 assists, 2.1 steals this past season. Started in 30 of 33, shot a career-high 38% from three-point range, and earned first-team all-defense ratings. The On3 ranking has Thomas as the number 61 point guard and the number 298 overall prospect in the portal. He was targeted by VCU, Iowa, Oklahoma State, and according to On3 Sports, quote, at least one other SEC school. But after a brief commitment to the Rams following a visit last week, Thomas flipped his pledge to the Gamecocks after taking a trip to the school this weekend. He said, quote, it's always been a dream to play close to home and obviously in the biggest conference of college basketball, which is the SEC. People could say whatever, but the SEC is definitely the best basketball conference. It was crazy because we have some family in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Columbia, and Charlotte. It's big for me to play near home in the biggest conference. So another big pickup for the fellas there under the leadership of Lamont Paris. Let's get to item number 3. Welp, this is one we're going to be talking about for a little while. Not just today, but for a while to come. A South Carolina court has ordered the Atlantic Coast Conference to turn over documents about its agreements with ESPN that Clemson has requested in their lawsuit against the ACC. According to ESPN, the interim confidentiality order was released on Friday. It said the ACC has 7 days to produce unredacted documents about their TV deal with ESPN to Clemson. The order also provides safeguards to keep the requested documents from being released publicly. The order bars Clemson, a public university, from complying with any Freedom of Information Act request unless the ACC gives permission or the school is forced to do so by another court with, quote, competent jurisdiction, end quote. This all stems from the lawsuit that Clemson launched against the conference back in March, which was, of course, filed right here in the Palmetto State. The lawsuit claimed the ACC's $140 million exit fee is, quote, unconscionably high and unenforceable, end quote. The school also says the grant of rights only agrees if Clemson is part of the conference, and that if a school exits the league, it should retain control of the media rights to its home sporting events. An amended Clemson complaint released by the court asked the ACC for unspecified punitive damages for the league's, quote, willful and malicious conduct, end quote, for its assertion that it should receive TV revenue from the Tigers games, even if they're part of another conference. So a South Carolina court has given an old jingle jangle on the telephone to the conference and said, hey, you know those documents that you said they can't have? Yeah, they can. We're going to need you to go ahead and turn those over. But they do so in a way that prevents Clemson from sharing that information with us. So even though Clemson will now have their eyes on the documentation that is a legal contract between the conference and ESPN to cover conference sporting events, you and I will still not have our eyes on it. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer as somebody who is very interested in this. Kind of bummer as somebody to whom this story matters a lot, which is, you know, all of us, that's all of us have a dog in this proverbial fight. And so I will say, it's good news Clemson's getting their eyes on this if you're Clemson. I am also going to say it may or may not be, who knows, a step towards the dissolution of the Atlantic Coast Conference. What I do know is that Clemson has an army of lawyers. Clemson's army of lawyers is going to pour over this document for like a while. And if there is any loose room in there, if there's anywhere in there that they can find some wiggle room to get out, they will. And if they do, then that same information will be kicked right on down the line to Florida State. And don't be shocked if you see a Florida court claim. Precedent has been set now. Precedent has been set now. And we also say that this university should get the documents, so Florida State will get it. And now you have two armies of lawyers launching a multi-pronged assault on the conference.
I don't know. I think I would count on the Florida lawyers because the Clemson lawyers are used to defending cow theft and, stuff like that. And, this is a bigger thing, something they probably have never done before.
We've been together, 2 years now?
Dude, it's going on 4.
No, I have been here 4.
Yes, going on 5. Your first year, wasn't even an entire year with Diesel, I believe.
Okay, so we've been together 4 years.
It will be 4 years in Christmas. So it's 3.5. If you want to go 3.5, yes.
3.5. That's the first time I've ever heard the usage of the term cow theft on the show. I've never heard anybody describe cow theft before. But here we are.
It's a big deal at ag schools, I believe.
Cow theft. Did not know there was an epidemic of cow theft outside of Red Dead Redemption 2 that was taking place. But here we are.
People love their stank, Rob. And it's hard times out there, Daddy.
Hard times, Daddy. It's hard times out here for conference schools, Daddy. All right. We got to take a, why am I saying that like that? We got to take a break, Daddy. We got to take a break. Do y'all want to talk about, do we care about this? It's an interesting story because on one hand, Clemson is about to get some ammunition. On the flip side,
there's no real meat yet.
Yeah. On the flip side, like, what are we going to talk about?
You get it?
Yeah, it's cow theft joke.
Yeah, okay.
It's a state cow theft joke. On the other hand, there's as Lenzo said, you can steal a cow, but there ain't no meat on it right now. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? We'll figure it out during the break and see what we talk about when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live. We're coming right back. Y'all stay right there for me. ready to tell you why I absolutely think it's time to go ahead and smash that panic button, bro. Like and subscribe. It's time to smash that panic button, not because the Braves lost, because we're 35 games into the season. Everybody's lost a lot of games at this point, and everybody has a lot more losses coming down the pipe.
There's what, 120 games left?
Roughly, give or take. Yeah, 125. There's a lot of wins and a lot of losses still coming down the pipe. But I think it's absolutely fair at this point to go ahead and smash the panic button on Atlanta for a couple of reasons. Number one, the offense stinks right now. And the offense was supposed to be what was going to propel this team to heights unknown. It was supposed to be the offense that was going to carry this team, even after Spencer Strider went down. When you lost an ace, and when I say an ace, I think in baseball, the word ace is overused. I think everybody believes they have an ace. You don't. There's a handful of guys that I think the term ace can be applied to. And I absolutely believe that Spencer Strider was one of those teams. Ace. Spencer Strider's an ace. Max Fried is a borderline ace. He's like right there on the edge. The last 2 games, absolutely pitched like an ace. The problem is, it was never supposed to be about the pitching. Pitching was supposed to be very good, for sure. The issue was between Acuna, Albies, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Arcia, Harris, Kelenic, and obviously Sean Murphy's been dinged up, but hell, even Travis d'Arnaud was having a go of it there for a hot minute. Between these guys, this team was supposed to hit the baseball better than anybody else in Major League Baseball. I did a preseason preview of this team. There are 7 returning All-Stars on this roster. 7. There are some teams that haven't had 7 All-Stars in the last 5 years. This team had 7 coming back this year alone. But they're just not hitting the ball well. And so you can have these performances from Max Fried or Charlie Morton or Bryce Elder or whoever else. But if they're going out there and they're only giving up 3-4 runs and you can't score 3-4 runs, what are we doing? And before we get carried away, yesterday was against James Paxton. Friday night was where I got real frustrated. Friday night, you may, if you were listening to the show on Friday, I told you of the 3 games, I was going to do my best to watch all 3. I did not watch Saturday. I did watch yesterday and Friday night. I told you I thought Friday night's game was as important of a game as the Bravos would play this year. And I know it's only 35 games into the season, but Friday's game was as important as any game that will be played this year. And it's as important as any game that will play this year. Why? Because it is going to be the one game that decides the series. If you go and you lose to, with all due respect to the guy, Gavin Stone, a man carrying a +4 ERA. If you go lose to Gavin Stone, a man who has a total going into that game of 14 either 14 or 15 strikeouts, that's not going to do it. That's the one game with Charlie Morton on the bump. And I understand Uncle Charlie, unfortunately, I'm not saying he's lost his battle with Father Time, but Lonzo, you know what they say about Father Time. He is undefeated. It may take him a little while to get you, but he gonna get you. And it's looking like Uncle Charlie may have been got by Father Time. Not that he's pitching poorly. It's just not what it was last year, at least so far. It is early in the year. So, you went into that game Friday night with an edge. Gavin Stone's on the bump for the Dodgers. You needed to slap him around a little bit. You also threw your best possible lineup at him. Ronnie Alves, Riley Olsen, Ozuna, Darno, Harris, Arcia, Kellenic. That is the best lineup that the Braves can field right now. They ended that game with what? 3 hits, 4 hits. That's just not good enough. Then you go to Saturday. I knew you were losing Saturday's game. There was never a doubt you were losing Saturday's game. You throw in Bryce Elder, who, again, same situation as Charlie Morton, is carrying a 5.28 ERA with a whopping 10 strikeouts this year because he can't go deep into games. He's a 4-inning, maybe 5-inning guy. Not ideal. He goes out there, he gets absolutely shellacked. And with him getting shellacked, you've also got to get into your bullpen earlier than you'd like, which means that you're carrying some tired arms into the series finale on Sunday. And then also you don't hit the ball. Get slapped around in that one. It's not great. And then you come up on Sunday. And I'm thinking at this point, you ought to win this game on spite alone, right? You got to win this game just on pride, if not spite. The pride of not getting swept and the pride of not having to listen for the next 2-3 months until you get another crack at this squad. The pride of not having to listen to every baseball talking head in America, myself included, saying Vegas was right. The Dodgers are definitively better than the Braves. Well, here we are. It is Monday morning, and I am now comfortable in saying, guess what? That's not the button I wanted. That is, the Dodgers are definitively better than the Braves. Is there a lot of baseball left? Hell yeah, there's a lot of baseball left. There's a lot of baseball left. And this offense is too good. There's too much talent on this offense to write it off, to give up now, to say, there's no chance. They're cooked. I am going to say this. We got some answers out of this series. Not answers Braves fans wanted. What I am going to tell you is this. After this weekend, despite the fact that they have had an easier road to get here, the Braves are 2.5 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, as Lonzo is going to point out, because it's what he does, there's still 130 games, 125 games left to be played this year. And a 2-game lead can quite literally evaporate in a single weekend. Sure, it can. But the Braves need to be outpacing people now. They need to be outpacing people now. They need to be. There is no world in which a 20-12 record trailing the Phillies with fewer wins and more losses was ever going to be acceptable for this year. 20-12 would have you in second place in the NL Central. It would have you in second place in the NL West. It has you second place in the East. It would have you in third place by a half a game in the AL East. It would have you in second place in the AL Central. You would be leading the AL West, but the AL West is a dumpster fire right now, except for the Mariners. And you may flash back to last week when the Mariners also took 2 out of 3 against the Atlanta Braves. So the one team in that division that's actually playing ball got Atlanta as well. There's a problem. There is a problem right now with the Bravos. And I'm trying to be hesitant because I saw the hot take artist online. And the hot take artists online are running out there. Snickers gotta go. Manager's gotta go. He's not managing this lineup well. He's pulling the wrong strings. He's got the wrong guys in the wrong spots at the wrong times. And I do think that is a little hot takey for a guy who won you a World Series just a couple of years ago. But something is very wrong with this baseball team. They are not hitting the ball well. I don't know if that is a hitting coach problem. I don't know if it's just everybody has hit a slump at the same time. I don't know if because 1, 2, 3, 4 aren't hitting the ball, the pressure has been racked up on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to carry that weight. And by the way, the bottom half of the lineup has been carrying more weight than it has any responsibility to do, but they have been doing it. I don't know what the reasoning is. I know ball, but I watched this team. They melted down against the Dodgers, and every damn thing went wrong. Top to bottom, left to right, everything went wrong in this series. And so, yes, I think it is the perfect time for Bravos fans to start being concerned. But Rob, we got all the... Yeah, I know. What are they doing? What are they doing? Your pitching all-stars are irrelevant right now. Your batting all-stars, even Ronnie, are struggling to hit 250 at this point. Yeah, the panic button's in play, and there's nothing wrong with it. Life is pain. Rob Alonzo and you, we put the second hour to bed when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Life is pain.
Life is pain. Anyone who says differently is trying to sell you something. Princess Bride.
So the wrong brother showed up on that PLE.
Yeah, right. Not the Oos I thought it was going to be.
And they haven't used yet. So it's going to get even bigger.
Yep.
Unless he joins the anti-bloodline.
Bloodline Civil War is going to be incredible.
The natural slowdown through Pelham Road, but even that is steady. And 29, the way down is smooth sailing.
Worth it.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Celebrate Greenville's music scene every Thursday night through August 29th at Noma Square with a free outdoor party at Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, benefiting Metropolitan Arts Council. New this year, Arts After Dark every third Thursday, showcasing local upstate artists. Visit gphilevents.com for details.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
The vehicle feature, intelligent for life, cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Green Bay, 97.1 FM Smart.
From the Free Odyssey. Now, the Infinity Sports Network. Talk to Robin Lonzo, 844-FAN phone. That's 844.
It is the South Carolina Broadcasters Association's two-time Sports Talk Radio Show of the year. It is the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. Let's talk NFL here for just a minute. We have great one put the NFL draft in the rearview mirror. Guys that got picked up, guys that got drafted, have made their introductions. They have done their Keon Coleman hilarious press conferences and team introductions and yada, 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 yada. Now it's time to get down to football. Now it's time to talk football. Let's do a way too early prognostication of what our conference champions our divisional champs are going to be this year in the National Football League. Let us start, great one, over in the AFC East. We got the Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Football Jets, the New England Patriots. The Patriots have their new quarterback in Drake May. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers coming back off a popped Achilles, should be good to go. The Dolphins just signed Odell Beckham Jr. to try to give them a little more reliability out of the wide receiver core. And Buffalo Bills have my favorite, not on my team player in Keon Coleman lined up alongside Josh Allen. Put those in order for me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. I'm going to go Jets first.
Okay.
I'm going to go Miami second. I really believe this. I know you want to give me a look. Buffalo third, and then New England.
I really thought you were about to put New England over.
No.
I think
That-
it'd been the first time I was going to put you on a 1-segment suspension.
Yeah. Try that.
Yeah. I mean, I know I can't, but I would have said it. The Jets I find interesting as potential one.
I'll say you already did that when you talk baseball. So, I mean,
The unofficial 1-segment suspension. By the way, Jacob in the Berg says, I'm rocking the mustache for the next week or so to try to fix the baseball juju for the Bravos. Got to do what I can. I respect that. Spencer Strider gone, but his stash is with us in spirit.
all right, let's hear you go Buffalo first.
Okay, Buffalo first. I'm going Buffalo 1. I'm going Miami 2. I'm going New York Jets 3. And I'm going Pats 4th. That's where I've got them. I don't know if Keon Coleman is enough to fix the offense. I don't know what this cat's going to be. I know I won't be rooting for anybody more than I'll be rooting for Keon Coleman in his yellow Macy's jacket. Big fan, Keon, big fan. But I do find it hard to pick against, hear me out, regular season Josh Allen. He's always fond of the regular season. I'm going Miami 2. I like the pickup of Odell. Do I think Odell is a game-changing wide receiver? No, but
maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. How many teams has he been on now? How much difference has he made on those teams?
Go back to Baltimore last year. There were 5 or 6 clutch Odell catches. Clutch. I don't need Odell to be 100-yard a game guy. I need him to be, we're in trouble. It's 3rd and 7, backs against the wall. Tua's got to have a clutch play. Odell still makes those catches. Jets 3, same reason I'm struggling with Kirk Cousins. I'm struggling with Aaron Rodgers. Let's not pretend the guy's not a 40-year-old with a busted Achilles. Those don't heal as efficiently when you are of an advanced age. And he is.
Well, one's wearing a brainwave thing. The other one's taking excursions into the jungle and meditating and stuff.
Bro. And then I got the Pats left because they're the Pats. Let's go to the AFC North. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. This is a fun one to try out to rank.
The thing is, everybody wants out of Cincinnati all of a sudden,
Yep.
which is weird. Offensive players want out of Cincinnati. Is Joe Burrow hard to work with, or they just know they ain't gonna get paid there? Or maybe it's a combination. I'm gonna go Cincinnati first because every other year they do pretty well, and Joe Burrow coming off of injury, I think he's going to want to prove something. I'm going to go Baltimore second. I'm going to go. It's so hard there. I'm going to go Pittsburgh third and then go Cleveland last.
I like that. I'm going to flip your top 2, but keep the other ones the same. I'm going to go Baltimore, Cincinnati. I'm going to go Pittsburgh and then Cleveland down the pipe. Baltimore, that defense is going to be unreal this year. It's going to be very good. They stocked up, including Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. I still think that they have got, with Lamar Jackson, one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league right now. The guy's a stud.
I think you need to throw the caveat out there like you did with Josh Allen. He's Lamar's amazing regular season. Get to the playoffs, not so much.
I mean, his playoff performance last year wasn't bad. He got let down by a coaching staff who took your one running back and ran him 3 times in that game. I am this close to saying that I love the identity that Baltimore has built, but if John Harbaugh isn't going to do something about his offense, he's got to go, because that was atrocious last year. Cincinnati, I'm worried about. You're right. Everybody wants up out of there. Cincinnati, I'm worried about. I think you're getting to the point where the ownership and the GM-ship of that team is basically pushing people to not want to be there. Trey Hendrickson, sack leader last year. He wants out. T. Higgins wants out. A lot of guys want out. That's the problem. Pittsburgh, I'm intrigued by. I think Pittsburgh could potentially end up second here because, like I said, I think people were hanging a lot of the failure of the Denver Broncos on Russ Wilson. And I think next year y'all are going to see it was not all on him, some of it, but not all on him.
If they keep both of those quarterbacks they brought in, there's a controversy of brewing, and I'd be concerned about that.
You know, I want to talk about that coming up in a little while, the concept of a QB controversy, because I got to tell you, as much as I don't buy into this narrative all that often, great one, I'm kind of tired of hearing that, because to me, and this is maybe going to be a bad look on me in this industry, I feel like 9 out of 10 times QB controversies are just stirred up by dudes looking for something to talk about on a microphone. Honestly.
Agreed. 9 out of 10 times, but this
definitely
this definitely has the potential to. It depends on what you think about the playing ability of the two guys that are there.
We're going to talk about it coming up in a little while. Let's go to the AFC South. Houston, Jacksonville, Indy, and Tennessee.
Okay.
Is that the order?
Yes.
You like that order?
Yeah.
I like that order too. There's an issue here, though. It's the 2 and the 3. I think Tennessee is 4 for sure.
Yeah, Houston got some more offensive weapons.
Houston got some weapons.
Yeah.
Houston at 1 and Tennessee 4 are the 2 I'm comfortable with. My only question is, are Jacksonville and Indy going to flip-flop? That's my question.
They might.
Right?
If Richardson can stay healthy, who knows?
He had the broken collarbone last year, and you will remember that Anthony Richardson was playing pretty good football before he got dinged up. And on the flip side, the Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely damn collapsed down the stretch last year. Pathetically collapsed.
Was it sophomore slump for Trevor Lawrence, or is he what I thought he would be in the NFL? And that's good, not great.
Somebody this weekend did something very interesting, and it's something that I would like to do later on in the show. Somebody went and pulled the statistics between Trevor Lawrence and another quarterback and compared and contrasted the two and played the whole guess what quarterback this is game, a game that I don't really like to play, but we're going to later, because there's going to be one that's going to make you go, huh. And I'm going to get to that. For now, I'm going to be fine with this. I'm going to go Houston 1. I'm going to go Indy 2, Jacksonville 3, Tennessee 4. Let's get the AFC West. Kansas City, the Superchargers, the Denver Broncos, and the Las Vegas Raiders.
All right. What you said, except the last 2 are reversed.
So you're going to go Kansas City, Los Angeles Chargers, Vegas Raiders, Denver Broncos.
Yes. I think Denver is going to be horrible. I think we probably can agree on that.
Yep.
And Kansas City's Kansas City.
Yep.
And Harbaugh will start to turn things around a little bit, but they still have to contend with Kansas City.
Yep.
They probably got a shot at making the playoffs. So. All the running he's going to be doing for the Chargers is going to surprise a lot of people.
Gonna be very interesting, the Chargers, because you lost your 2 top wide receivers to other destinations. You did pick up one later in the draft, but I don't know if that's the guy you're going with there. You went offensive lineman out of the gate. I think it needed to be done. Justin Herbert can't be the star if he's getting his patootie knocked around the field all the time, right? So I am going to be fine with the Chargers at 2. I think the Raiders can get him. I do. I think the Raiders can get them, and I will tell you why.
Who's the Raiders quarterback?
Right now, that would be Gardner Minshew.
Uh-huh.
That would be Gardner
I
Minshew.
like Gardner Minshew, but yeah, okay.
We're going to talk about that coming up here in a little while.
So Gardner, okay, he can compete with the high-powered offenses that are okay. We'll see.
I think the Raiders are going to be centered on defense this year. I think Max Crosby is a dude. That being said, I don't think it matters. I'm still going to put them at 3. I just think they can compete. So there's your AFC projected order of divisional finishes of those teams. Great one. Barring you from, well, let's just put it this way. Who's the biggest threat to Kansas City out of the AFC? Is it still Buffalo? Did they fall off too far? Is it Baltimore with Lamar? Is it Miami if they don't have to play a playoff game in frostbite weather, which is stupid and I hate it and dome over every stadium? Which team out of the AFC is the biggest threat to the crown?
That is, I think it's easy to say Buffalo, but I think Buffalo's offense is steadily dropping off, and I'm really concerned about their offense. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So you're not concerned about the departures, the desired departures?
Well, think about it. It's like every other year, at least recently, it's either been Buffalo or Cincinnati. And it's kind of Cincinnati's turn if they keep following the pattern.
It's not unfair. At this point, I wonder if there's not too much of a disruption there. I wonder if there's not too much of guys wanting out. So you've still got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins once out. And then outside of those two guys, like, quick, name me the next Bengals wide receiver. And I know you can't do it for most teams. By you, I mean all of us. I mean the regular.
Like, I couldn't do it when I lived there. Why am I going to know now?
Because they were real bad when you lived there.
Oh no, they went to the Super Bowl when I was.
I don't know. I don't even know when you lived there.
When I was
being
a kid, yeah. But anyway, they did go to the Super Bowl. They played San Francisco and they lost to Joe Montana, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Joe Montana was your quarterback, you idiot. Trenton Irwin is their wide receiver 3 right now. If T. Higgins wants out, it is the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase show. That's it.
Just because T. Higgins wants out doesn't mean he's getting out. And is he going to be a disgruntled guy? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. I think he'll go out there and play just as hard as he has in years past because he wants out of there and he knows it's his resume.
Maybe. I mean, that is the idealistic way to view it.
I mean, if you get a full-on healthy Joe Burrow throwing the ball at you, you either catch it or you
don't,
or you lose your head or something. I mean,
Joe Burrow out here with a guillotine.
Well, that means coming at you really fast. Yeah.
That's true. He does laser the ball. The Bengals, the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs next year, says the great one, Lonzo. Man, I really want to say it's Buffalo, but Buffalo wasn't a threat. I mean, they were a threat, but they couldn't finish the threat the last couple of years. And again, are we putting too much on Stephon Diggs leaving? Right? Like, if that guy,
dude, that's a big deal. He didn't want to be there and still played as well as he did. They were having arguments and things like that while he was there and still played as well as he. That's a lot of offense to lose.
I agree with that, right? I agree with that. My question is, even losing that much offense from Stephon Diggs, who was playing exceptionally well, they still got a good run game. They still got a good offensive line. They still got Josh Allen behind the center. They've added Keon Coleman. Again, I think that Keon Coleman was probably number 1 in group number 2 of receivers in the draft. I think Keon Coleman's going to need some polish before he becomes a dude at the next level. So around those guys, who else can they lean on that would get them in the mix? And the answer is, I don't particularly know. You got Khalil Shakir at wide receiver and Curtis Samuel. You got Chase Claypool backing him up. You got James Cook, fine running back. But outside of that, you really don't have a ton of depth at the running back spot. Dalton Kincaid's a stud at tight end. But I have said about Chicago and a bunch of other teams, not that this is the case anymore, but if your number one receiving threat, your number one is a tight end, you're in trouble. Travis Kelce is not the number one receiving threat for Kansas City. It's just that if you take away number 1, 2, and 3, he's a real good final option, and you can design to him. I feel that way about Dalton Kincaid for the Buffalo Bills. But if it gets to a point next year where it's the Allen and Kincaid show, you're up the creek, pal. I don't think I can say as much. You guys know I love me some Bills. I've been rooting for them for a while. I think to me, they are the New Orleans Saints of the North. Couple of long struggling franchises. I understand the pain.
Or they're just the Buffalo Bills. You know their history: 4 Super Bowls, 4 losses.
Yeah.
So they're just being them.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks a lot. That's painful. I know. Point here is, I like that team. I got a little something in my icy dark heart for that team. I like that team a lot. But man, if you couldn't do it the last couple of years, how in the world is this your year? I don't see it. Cincinnati's not a bad pick, honestly. Outside of that, I'm going to be real clear with you. Looking down the rest of the AFC, Lonzo, Baltimore is the only team I got for you. I think it's a clear path to an AFC title for Kansas City one more time again. Ladies and gentlemen, now that I've pumped them up, now that I've given them some gas, now that I've given them something to look forward to, I'm sure that this may be the single most energetic sports flash of all time.
I think we all know that was fear of disrespect. That's all that was. Rob doesn't think I'm going to read this, but I will.
Mahomes is a heel.
In the NBA, abracadabra, the Magic have disappeared. Despite 38 points and a dozen rebounds from Orlando forward Apollo Banchero, the Cavaliers were able to put away the Magic 106-94 in the Game 7. The next highest Orlando scorer, Wendell Carter Jr., had 13, and only one other player had more than 10. Donovan Mitchell knocked down 39, including 15 free throws for Cleveland. Clemson baseball took 2 out of 3 against Georgia Tech with a 9-2 win at home yesterday. And South Carolina baseball, they went 9-4 over Missouri yesterday. Make sure you check out Wire to Wire this evening or afternoon or whatever it is, 3 to 7 p.m. Cole, Bryson, and Diesel get you up to date on all the latest local and national sports, all Wire to Wire. Why does the thing only work when I do that? I don't know. Maybe if I did it earlier, it would work earlier. Would you set that thing on the table so I can grab it and move it?
What? Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Team Dome, yes. And also, the O's are totally major leaguing right now, and I like it. I'm pulling for them. I'm pulling for them to win a bunch of games in front of no fans.
We have ourselves a problem because something is due Wednesday.
Oh, it is.
And I haven't started on it yet. Okay. So you know what I'm doing this afternoon and tomorrow and Wednesday.
Me too.
I'm just saying, if you've got something that you think should be there, yeah,
segments and
yeah.
start digging through.
I have my go-tos, which is if something made a promo, it's a good shot that it can be on the thing, and I just go find the original audio. Any interviews stood out? We've averaged one wrestler per thing, so.
Which, by the way, I should be hearing from.
Shouldn't that have been this week? No.
It is.
Okay.
I'm hearing from Stephanie today.
Okay. All right. How many people on the list that I gave got drafted to SmackDown? I think the majority of them are a possibility.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show. It's BetMGM tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on the Fan. BetMGM tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, size, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM tonight, exclusively on the Fan. And on the Odyssey app. It's the Rob Brown Show.
Mark Benetti, voice of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits here on the Rob Brown Show. Talk to me a little bit about Mordo. Talk to me a little bit about who he is as a coach and why he has been so important to what the Rabbits have become.
He is a detail-oriented man. He's a very intense man.
We have 6 days to get that in? Or 7 days? Oh, it's this week?
It's on the 8th.
Damn. It's real bad.
I am not worried. I'm just letting you know that if you want something, you need to get it to me. If not, I'm just doing it because I don't.
Well, we got to do that, and I also
Because I have a bunch of other stuff that I have to do over there for all the So
yeah. I also want to put my sportscaster reel so I can go win second place again.
Still a trophy.
And
all I get is a piece of
that's what I
paper.
want.
Let's hope I get a piece of paper this year.
You can have the trophy this year.
No, dude, I'm not. I mean, I hope the theme's like McDonald's. I'm gonna dress up as a hamburger and I'm just gonna run across this stage
The
and
theme
still
is McDonald's.
and I'm gonna steal the trophy from you and I'm actually going to leave.
The
I'm not even gonna
theme
take a picture. It's just boom.
is McDonald's. And off we go, ladies and gentlemen, into hour number 3 of the Rob Brown radio program right here on The Fan Upstate. Welcome back, my good ladies and gentlemen. It is, as always, spectacular to have you. In the last segment of the show, last time on the Rob Brown Show, we ranked our divisions in the AFC. Let's flip it over here and let's do the same for the NFC and see how those divisions shake up in our far too early divisional prognostications. Let's begin. Great one with the NFC East. Jalen Hurts and his Eagles for half the season last year looked like a return to the Super Bowl was inevitable. And then in the second half of the season, looks like they just completely forgot how to play football. It got real bad for Philly real quick. They made a couple of moves. You got the Washington Commanders, bums, which I hope that I get to drop the corny catchphrase this year because they went and got Jaden Daniels in the draft. The Dallas Cowboys are all in. They haven't done anything this offseason that I can say makes them look all in, but Jera said they're all in, so it obviously must be true. And then, of course, you've got the New York Football Giants, who decided one more ride with Danny Dimes, but they bring in Malik Neighbors. They're going to pair him up off the opposite side of Jalen Hyatt. I like this wide receiver core. If Danny Dimes can't do it this year, I am sorry to say Danny Dimes can't do it. Rank them, Zoe. Philly, Washington, Dallas, and the G.
I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to go Dallas first.
Ooh.
I'm going Philly second because Jason Kelce being gone, I think, is going to hurt them a bunch. And you talked about there already being a decline in Philly. I think, yes, he's just an offensive line, but he was more than that. And I think him being gone is a problem. Then I'm going Washington, then I'm going Giants last.
Okay. Washington and then the Giants last. So he's going Big D, and he does mean Dallas, Philly, Washington, New York Football Giants. I am going to go with this sucks. I really think Washington's going to be good this year. I'm taking an over bet on Washington.
Do you? Do you? How much do you believe?
I am going to go Philly 1, Washington 2, Dallas 3, Giants 4th. I believe the Washington, I honestly think Jaden Daniels is a rookie difference maker. Like, I think he is a rookie difference maker out of the gate.
And the fact that you said he's the best quarterback in the draft.
I do believe that.
So in order to do, you've got the, yeah, okay, all right.
This is not me trying to justify my
It
opinion
just
on Jaden
happens
Daniels.
to look that way. I'm just saying.
No, I
That's
think
all.
it's as much about the fact that Dallas did what Dallas did last year and have done nothing. They brought back Ezekiel Elliott. That's what they did. That's their big move. They lost Van Der Esch, so their defense is going to suffer. And they brought back Zeke Elliott.
All right. The reason why I picked Dallas to win is not that Dallas got that much better. It's just that Philly got worse. And Washington, although they are going to be improved, I don't think they're at the top yet. Will be anywhere near the top yet. And the Giants are not good. So
The Giants are not good. We at least agree on number 4. They have Devontae Smith. They re-signed A.J. Brown. They do have Dallas Goedert at tight end. Have we given up on Jalen? Oh, and by the way, they got Saquon Barkley in the backfield. Now, obviously, that's all depending on whether Saquon's knees hold up or not. But if his knees hold up, dude, the Eagles have the deepest depth chart in this division. I don't think that's a prediction. I'm pretty sure I can say that with relative confidence. I'm going to go Eagles 1, Commanders 2, Cowboys 3. This is not so much about Jaden Daniels. I really think this defense under Dan Quinn, because remember, in Atlanta, before the wheels came off in the Dan Quinn regime, the defense wasn't really the problem. It's that offensively they sucked. They stank rank with the offense. He went and he got Cliff Kingsbury to run the offense. You don't think Cliff Kingsbury can do a little something with Jaden Daniels? I think that offense is going to surprise some people. Let's get to the NFC North. We're going to go Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Detroit. Big one. I mean, great one. Why did I say big one? What's wrong with
it's all right, man. That hurts. It was an apt description.
Because I think I was going to go big dog, but then halfway through the big dog, I remember the nickname is Great One, and then I just mashed them together.
we could just move on.
Okay.
All right. All right. So I'm going to go Green Bay.
Okay.
I'm going to go Minnesota. And I'm forgetting a team.
Chicago
and Detroit. You know what? I changed my mind. I forgot about it. I'm going to go.
There we go.
I don't.
For a minute.
Yeah. The big one really got me. I'm going to go Detroit first.
Okay.
My bad. Then Green Bay.
Okay.
Then Minnesota. than Chicago.
Ooh. The Caleb Williams hate is real.
It's not about that. I mean, it's just, we saw Green Bay improve as the season went on. Chicago, if they equal what they were last year, they're still mid. And in this case, last.
So, a couple of things. Number one, top of your head, great one. Who's quarterbacking the Vikings this year? Do you remember? It's J.J. Damn McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vikings are coming up fourth in this division.
Yeah.
The Vikings are dead last in this division.
He's going to shock us and be rookie of the year. You watch, just to spite us.
Dude, if he wins rookie of the year, I will eat a ghost pepper live on this show. Okay?
Have to be near the end of the show. So
No, I'll do it out the gate.
Oh, no.
Segment one.
Okay. All
We will
right.
struggle through it. All right. Segment one. There is no way.
There's no we. You will struggle. I'll be fine. Because
You'll be struggling with
because
it.
I won't.
With me over here going.
It's
like,
yeah, it's football season. I'll just turn your mic down and take over. It's no big deal.
Vikings are coming in dead last in this division. I'm going to go Detroit 1. I'm going to go Chicago 2. I'm going to go Green Bay 3. I'm going to go Minnesota 4.
Wow, you believe in Chicago.
I do. Do I think they should have gotten away from Matt Eberflus as the head coach? Oh, you're damn right I do. It's true. Oh, it's damn true. They should have gotten away from Eberflus. However, they brought in a rook. And I think that one thing that got a little misconstrued, perhaps is a good way to put it, was everybody, and I only say this because the folks on BetMGM tonight, as I make my weekly Wednesday appearances with them, the folks on Wednesdays thought that my love for Jaden Daniels meant, in this ever so polarized world that we live in, that obviously it means you hate Caleb Williams. Oh, no. I think Caleb Williams is going to be just fine. I think Caleb Williams is going to be very good. I think Caleb Williams has got every tool in the toolkit required to be a standout NFL quarterback. And on top of that, look at the Bears depth chart, dude. Offensively, the Bears depth chart is as good at the skill positions as anybody in the game. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift. It's as good as you can ask for. If you are going to start.
So it was just a quarterback. The quarterback is the thing that held them back last year.
No, but you added 2 receivers because last year, quick pop quiz. Who was the second receiver on the Bears behind DJ Moore last year?
Someone who wasn't DJ
Right.
Moore.
Exactly. Who is it this year? It's Roma Dunze. It's Keenan Allen. It's DeAndre Swift, who is a wonderful catcher of the football out of the backfield. It's Cole Kmet, who personally beat the hell out of my Saints last year. I think he had 3 tutties in that game. This is the best set of skill players in the National Football League this year. Any team. I will take Chicago's. I'm not saying QB because, again, he is a rook. And even though I think he's got all the tools to be very good, he is a rook. But as a rook, if you were going to start a rook out of the gate, giving him this set of skill position players around it, about as good as you could ask for. About as good as you could ask for, man. Texture says, what happens when Caleb Williams get hurt? Who is the backup? I mean, if any NFL team loses their starting quarterback, they're going to lose games. Any of them. There's no team, with the exception of maybe Pittsburgh, and maybe Jacksonville with Mac Jones backing up Trevor Lawrence. Outside of those teams, I do not. Maybe New Orleans because they got future first-round Hall of Famer Spencer Rattler on the bench. But outside of those 3 teams, there's no team that's losing its starter and going to be fine after. But the answer is Tyson Bagent, who you will remember played pretty well in the absence of Justin Fields last year when he got banged up. All right, so in the NFC North, I am going with Detroit 1, Chicago 2, Green Bay 3, Minnesota 4. To the NFC West, we go. Great one. We got the Rams, the Niners, The Cardinals and the Seahawks. Put them in order.
Wow, this is hard. Niners 1.
Yep.
Now it's hard.
Yep.
Yeah, the Rams 2.
Okay.
Seattle 3, I guess.
Okay. No love for Marvin Harrison Jr. and the Arizona Cardinals, huh?
Marvin Harrison Jr. would be awesome if, he actually gets thrown the ball, but I don't know.
I don't think it's chalky to go with San Francisco. I mean, it is by definition chalky, but I don't think it's a bad thing to go chalk sometimes.
Well, you talked about stacked teams. They still have a stacked team.
Yep. And they got better. They are probably the only team in the first round that I thought Ricky Pearsall was a good fit for because they didn't need a star, but now they got a blazer on the outside. I'm going to go San Francisco 1. I'm going to go LA Rams 2. I'm going to go Arizona 3, Seattle 4. Look, it is, do or die for Kyler Murray. He has got to be the best Kyler Murray this year. If it's not that, because if Kyler Murray gets cut from Arizona, I don't think that there's a lot of other landing spots out there for him. I don't think there's a lot of other spots that are going to fall. He will basically become a backup journeyman quarterback if he doesn't do something this year because they just gave him the weapons. They just gave him the weapon. They got him the best receiver in the draft, depending on who you ask. I just have a problem. James Conner's their running back. Trey McBride's their tight end. Who's behind Marvin Harrison Jr. at the wide receiver spot? Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. This team's not very good. They're defensively going to be okay. You know what? Bleep it. I'm actually moving Seattle up. I lied. I talked myself out of it. The more I think about it, the more I look at this offense, the more I think even if Kyler's good, it's still going to be a struggle.
So we have the same then.
Yep. So we're matched on the NFC West. And now we go to the NFC South. You've got the Carolina Panthers. You've got the New Orleans Saints. You've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you've got the Atlanta Falcons. Rank them up, Zoe.
All right. This is going to shock you. You ready to be shocked?
And amazed.
I would do that. Mark Ryan, I'm going to knock your socks off, but I can't do that. He discovered Meyer over the weekend.
Burn your
way.
brownies.
Yeah, yes.
Butter your biscuits.
I am going with the New Orleans Saints first.
Are you high?
No.
Are you sure?
I will explain why. I'm going New Orleans first. I'm going Tampa Bay second. I'm going Atlanta third and going with the Panthers fourth. The reason why I'm going with Atlanta lower, because of the reasons you've been talking about all this time about someone coming off of surgery. And if that someone gets hurt again and is at Coles, then Bo Nix is a starting quarterback, a rookie quarterback. It's Bo Nix, right? Who is it?
Michael Penix
Michael
Jr.
Penix. They're all the same to me. It's not that good of a draft class. None of these quarterbacks are going to be in the league in 4 years, probably. Anyway, the rookie quarterback is going to be taking over, and I think he will struggle in Atlanta. So I'm putting Atlanta at third.
So everything I've said that you've given me crap for, you're on board with in your prediction. I like it. I like it.
You are a great influence on me. I forgot the name of the quarterback. I am sorry. I am forgetting names right and left. But again, no one in this draft class, quarterback-wise, stands out to me enough to be relevant in 4 years.
I am going.
And I don't need drug tested, Keegan. Maybe check for CTE, possibly, but not drugs now.
I am going Atlanta 1. I'm going Tampa 2. I'm going New Orleans 3. I'm going Carolina 4. Dennis Allen sucks. It's on site. Atlanta has the best team in the NFC South. Do I think they're a 14-win team? No.
Atlanta had the best team in the NFC South last year, too.
Yes.
Yeah, and what did they do?
What they do? Got rid of their ass head coach.
No. Oh, okay.
Assistant.
All right.
Ain't no period on that. Just ass head coach.
Okay. All right.
They got rid of their head coach. They brought in a quarterback who, while he is 36, going on 37 years old, and does have a torn Achilles, was before said torn Achilles, as Lonzo has pointed out repeatedly, having a career year up until that point. They did go draft a rook quarterback who they are going
Bo
to
Nix.
double. Bo Nix. Of course, the Denver Broncos quarterback, Bo Nix, who is going to be able to sit in Atlanta for a couple of weeks.
Jaden Johnson.
Jaden Johnson is not even a guy.
Yes, I
That's
know.
not even a guy.
I'm well aware of it. Yes.
They go get a rookie quarterback in Michael Penix Jr. that they have earned, that they have bought some time to sit on the bench, to learn, to experience, to get better before he checks in.
Is the opposite of believer a hater?
No, I don't
Because
think so.
I'm not a hater of Atlanta, but I'm not a believer.
Oh, I hate Atlanta.
Yeah, I know
hate
you are, and I don't. I just don't believe in them. I never have, and I still don't believe. And Kirk Cousins turned me around just because of the documentary, but it's fading from my memory. So, and my dude gets paid.
As is the name of Bo Nix.
My dude gets paid. Yeah, it's not going to be that dude. Even if he becomes relevant, will not be relevant for what, 3 years?
Bo Nix?
No, well, he's in Denver, right?
Yeah, that's why
All
he'll be
right,
relevant for 3 years.
No, he'll never be relevant. He's in Denver. Sean Payton probably won't even be there next year.
You might not be wrong. Sean Payton's a fraud. So I think Atlanta's good. And it kills me. It kills me on the inside. I hated Dirty Bird. I hated Dirty Bird so much.
You're going to be all right. They're going to disappoint. That's what they do.
I mean, listen.
I mean, you know.
When you say disappoint, let me be clear. Not me.
In the end, Tampa Bay, even though neither one of us picked them to win it, they're going to win it because they always seem to win it now.
I don't know. Bake got paid. I love me some Baker Mayfield, but let's also not forget what was the X factor between Russ, Gino, and Bake. Dave Canellis. Where's that guy? That's your head coach for the Carolina
Could be
Panthers.
coincidence. We'll see. One thing we can agree with entirely is that the Panthers will be last.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Don't want them to be, but they're going to be.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely going to finish last. My question is, can they get a couple? Can they outperform last
How many
year?
did they win last year? 3? I think it was 3. So yeah. I mean, so you want them to win 5?
I would like 5 wins this year. I think 5
I would like 12 wins, but it's not going to happen.
But do you think 5 is impossible?
No,
Like, is 5 out of
I mean,
reach?
in division, they got a shot at that because there's disarray in places.
Oh, I don't think they're getting 5 divisional wins out of 6 games. I think they can take 2. I think they can
I
beat
meant,
New Orleans
I
at
was
home.
thinking NFC, not. Well, anyway,
I think they can beat New Orleans at home. Maybe Tampa at home. Maybe. Best bet. Carolina might win 1 division game. And that would be New Orleans.
all right.
at home
So
if they get
you're
it.
split, and we don't know who they're. Do we know what division in the AFC they're playing this year?
Oh, we've got the
The schedule
opponents
reveal
on
is
the way.
like Thursday, I think, isn't it?
It's coming up. Let's see. Panthers opponents in 2024. And we don't have to necessarily play the win-loss game here, but here you have it. At home, Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa. They will be at home against Dallas, again, the Giants, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Bengals. They will be away against the division, and then the Eagles, Commanders, Broncos, Raiders, and Bears. They can beat the Broncos. They can beat the Raiders on their best day. They can beat the Giants. They can beat the Cardinals. And then they have to beat New Orleans at home. They can get to 5. It's going to be tough. Tough sled. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I don't really know what to talk about, but there was a big legal thing for Clemson's lawsuit. So I'll bring it up, and then we'll see what happens, I guess. I'm good at this. John Blau from Post and Courier joins us in 20 minutes to talk Clemson baseball as well. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Well, I was just on the hustle bus. provide their documentation about their agreement with ESPN to Clemson. That's very interesting. The unfortunate part is they also, in that same order, barred Clemson from sharing that information with the public. They have permission from this court to reject any Freedom of Information Act request over this documentation unless the ACC gives written permission, which, shocker, they're not going to, or unless another court that has, quote, competent jurisdiction, end quote, orders Clemson to distribute those contracts and that documentation, which, again, I don't think is going to happen. I think any court at that point, and again, I'm not an attorney, I'm an idiot with a microphone, but I think, based on my understanding, that any other court, out of respect to the South Carolina court that issued the documentation be given to Clemson under wraps in the first place, would say, yeah, you got to give them to any other interested party. Let's say maybe Florida State's lawyers, whatever. But I don't think they would overturn what is effectively a gag order about this documentation. The interim confidentiality order was handed down on Friday, according to ESPN. And those documents must be turned over soon to the lawyers at Clemson to go over. Again, I've already told you what I think the biggest argument that Clemson is going to lean on is going to be. The biggest, and Florida State as well, just so we're clear. The best argument that I think Clemson is going to have and Florida State is going to have as they try to exit the Atlantic Coast Conference is the ACC did a crap job of negotiating media rights deals. The argument that the exit fee is exorbitantly high is an argument because it is higher than anybody else's exit fees, like dramatically. We did the cost analysis not too long ago, and it was going to cost well north of the $84 million buyout fee by itself. The number, once you wrap everything up into it, was going to be like hundreds of millions of dollars. That is not what the exit fee was for the schools leaving the Pac-12, even though most of them left as free agents. They went into the conference transfer portal, if you will. So I agree it's high, but I think the pushback there, obviously, the argument against that in court is going to be, yeah, but you signed it. You agreed to it. The only way that argument is going to hold up, in my opinion, is if Clemson and Florida State, and if anybody else gets this in this lawsuit, them as well, can make the argument that effectively they signed a contract where the ACC would have guaranteed to negotiate in earnest to get the best possible deal for this team. And they're going to make the argument that the ACC did not did that. Did not did that? They didn't did that.
They did not did that. They wasn't even there that day.
That they did not do that. They're going to make the argument that the ACC kind of half-assed their negotiations to get that money. And as we have discussed, the son of a previous commissioner working at a small-time network that got ACC rights, and then he instantly got promoted to a vice president's position, is kind of a good argument, I think. Now, they would still need to find the documentation that those things were somehow connected, that there was some sort of quid pro quo agreement in place there that said, hey, if you call up daddy And if daddy gives you the rights, then we'll make sure that you get that beautiful corner office and the keys to the company Corvette or whatever. And it may not be all that easy. I mean, they can put in all the requests for email records and text records and phone records and whatever that they want. It doesn't mean that they are going to find it. If they do, I think Clemson and Florida State are they're gone. They're scot-free, man. They are scot-free at that point. I just don't know if they're going to. I don't know if they're going to be able to. And that seems like a big time problem. So this is good for Clemson, I think. And by the way, John Blau with the Post and Courier coming up in the next segment, and we will ask him about this and his thoughts on it. John was the one that we talked to really when this lawsuit got filed back in March. And John was like, yeah, look, here's the deal. Clemson's got a lot of attorneys with eyes on this. Yeah, no surprise. No surprise. And this is this is definitively the biggest break in this story that we have had since the lawsuit itself got filed back in March. So we're not going to know what's in this agreement. It wouldn't matter if we did. Like, I've talked about how if you're a sports fan, you need to raise your voice when something's going on in the world of sports. You need to speak out when something is going on in the world of sports. The stupid baseball jerseys, fans complain, we're switching back to the old jerseys. There is a difference between some bad jerseys on a baseball diamond and tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars potentially changing hands based on the results of what a bunch of lawyers find in this contract. And it's not just this contract. They're obviously looking at everything else. They're going to be looking through every piece of paper in the ACC HQ in North Carolina, trying to find any time that anyone anywhere said something that they could twist linguistically into the paradigm that the ACC was not acting in the most beneficial way to its schools. That's going to be the out for Clemson and and FSU from the ACC. The out is going to be finding a way, somehow, somewhere, to prove that when it was time to earn these schools more money, the ACC just took whatever they could get and called it a day. And that's going to be a tough sell. That's going to be a tough ask. That's the best they got. And the fact that they get eyes on this agreement, because the agreement is at the heart of all of this. The fact that they get the eyes on this agreement means that over the next few days, there are going to be some very smart people who are getting paid a lot of money to ply their trade, looking through that agreement, trying to find any spot that that ESPN took advantage of the ACC and therefore the schools within the ACC. And if they can find that, the world change. We'll see what happens. We'll talk more about it later. 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Start your text with FAN on the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-326-3663. John Blau of the Post and Courier talks Clemson sports when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, we're going to step away for a minute while we get John Blau lined up. Y'all stay right there. We will be right back. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the fan upstate, Rob, and the great one, Lonzo, with you this relatively dreary upstate Monday morning. Joining us now on the phone line as he does every single Monday. He is a Clemson reporter covering the Tiger Athletic Department for the Post and Courier. He is John Blau here on the show. John, good morning, buddy. How we doing? How was your weekend, pal?
It was good. How was yours, Rob?
Very good. Very well. Thank you very much for asking. Appreciate it. Got a little golf in. It turns out, John, I can break this news. I still suck at golf. So, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm sure you're still better than me because I haven't picked up a golf club since like 8th grade. So
don't. Your life is better for it, John. That's the conclusion I've reached. John Blau for the Post and Courier here on the Rob Brown Show. I want to get into the baseball. Good weekend. 2 out of 3 against Georgia Tech at the house. But before we do, I don't know how much you've heard about, if anything, how much you've talked about. Apparently, South Carolina court ordered the ACC to turn over documents about their agreements with ESPN that Clemson requested. It was initially rejected by the ACC when they filed the suit back in March. Now a South Carolina court has told the ACC, no, you do have to turn it over. Clemson can't tell us what's in it. They can't turn it over. No FOIA requests are going to go through on this. But it does seem like Clemson getting their hands on these documents is about the best chance that they might have any movement forward with this lawsuit. What's your take on this whole thing where it stands now?
Yeah, I mean, they requested this very early on in discovery just because obviously the whole crux of the argument is what does the grant of rights say? What does the ESPN deal actually say? And obviously the ACC hasn't supplied copies of this to their member institutions. They've left it kind of in the office in Charlotte, and you have to go drive up to Charlotte to look at it. And so Clemson's attorneys had an idea of what was in it, but they obviously want to have a full copy of it so they can use this in their arguments. And obviously, grant of rights deals seem pretty that, if you sign them, you are surrendering your media rights. The ACC is obviously arguing that. Clemson is trying to take a different approach and say, well, you own our rights as long as we're in the conference. But if we're not in the conference anymore, you only own the rights to the stuff that we, that you have from when we played in your conference. And so it's going to be a real, argument over just kind of every little word in terms of what exactly it means and what kind of arguments can you make and are they compelling. And, to have the actual document is crucial for Clemson. I know you said that it can't be FOIA'd. It can be FOIA'd. It's just that the ACC has to sign off on it or a court has to approve it, which who knows what the odds of that is. Most likely none of us will ever see it. But it was obviously important that Clemson see it for them to be able to go through with this court case.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I can't imagine that if the fact that the ACC said, hey, if you want to look at this, you got to come up to Charlotte. It's in our office. You can't take pictures. You can't copy it. All you can do is sit in an office and read it and then, leave with whatever thoughts you have. I can't imagine a situation in which they say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and allow you guys to distribute this thing. And I think for the ACC, John, keeping it out of the public eye is probably in the ACC's best interest. Because if it does turn out that Clemson can make the argument, and Florida State, by the way, can make the argument that the ACC was not negotiating in a way that would have maximized revenue for those schools, that's really going to be the only argument that they have. So the ACC going to want to try to keep public outcry to a minimum, and this seems like really the only way they can do that.
Oh yeah, that I would think the chances of it getting out are 0.001%. You never know, though. I mean, obviously the ACC feels very strongly that the wording of it holds up. Maybe they would want the public to see what the wording actually says. To kind of, cast some doubt on Clemson's argument. But yeah, obviously, I think in the actual complaints that Clemson put out initially, there were huge swaths of text redacted because supposedly those reference the agreements that they believe they could potentially be trade secrets. You don't want all of that getting out there just because it could hurt you in terms of your competition, your broadcasting competition, in terms of them knowing exactly what your deal says and what you're giving schools and all that type of stuff. I could totally see the ACC not wanting it to be out there for that reason. And if they feel a little weak in terms of what the actual text says, yeah, maybe you want to keep it from people. But I don't think, as a general rule, a conference wants their contract out there. At the same time, it is kind of crazy that a public school like Clemson and all these public schools have signed on to this deal, and they can't have their own copy of it. That seems kind of nuts.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. Has there been any, what has been, if you know the tone of conversation about all of this behind the scenes? I mean, obviously, I know this is priority number one for Clemson. It is the same way at Florida State down in Tallahassee, but has there been any discussion about what the next couple of months might look like?
Yeah, I think for, to a certain extent, that the Florida State suit is taking precedent. That one obviously started first. Obviously, there's actually been a couple of hearings with that one. The Clemson one's kind of progressing a little bit more slowly. The motion for discovery with the ACC ESPN contract and an amended complaint last week were some of the first movements we had seen in a month since it had been initially filed. So I think the sense is just that this is a long way off in terms of being, anywhere near a resolution. I think right now on the docket it says, there's scheduled mediation in October, but I see them blowing right by that date. There's going to be a lot of, filings back and forth, and this is probably going to drag on for a while, and especially again with the FSU suit going on, probably lagging behind that one. So I don't think Clemson's going to break free of the ACC in the next few months. It might be a year. Who knows, maybe two. It could be a long process. But right now it's just about, again, they're throwing arguments back and forth. As I see it, I think this is really just leverage. You're trying to see, how much pressure you can apply, try to get the ACC potentially to negotiate down on the exit fee. Obviously there's a stipulation, I think, in 2025 where ESPN can come in and actually, break everything up. In terms of the ACC deal, they have an option on it. So there's that pivot point as well. But I think right now, Clemson's just trying to apply as much pressure as possible and see if they can get the ACC to the negotiating table and not have to pay $500 million to get out.
John Blau from the Post and Courier is here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate talking Clemson athletics. And that obviously that number is kind of the key, because under the exit fee is like 183 or 138, whatever it is. But when we've heard that number, $500 million tossed around. I know Florida State's tossed it around. I know Clemson's tossed it around. Can you kind of give us like a loose perspective of how that number is the number we're set on, and that's the argument, the number they're arguing against?
Yeah, so I think the exit fee itself is $140 million, which obviously is a huge number. Any athletic department's budget is probably about $100 million a year, and so to have the exit fee be more than that just to get out, that's tough. But then the rest of it, where you get to $500 million, is that, again, if the grant of rights holds, and it really is that you surrender your media rights through 2036, you take what the ACC is distributing per year, which is about $40 million a year, you times that by the years left on the deal, and that gets you that extra $500 million that could potentially cost to leave the conference. So, again, Clemson's trying to argue that, well, we don't owe you that part because you only get to keep the media rights for replays of our games from like 2016 and 2018. But if again, the grant of rights is as solid as the ACC thinks it is, you have to pay them back all of your media rights as well, which makes it extremely cost prohibitive.
All right, we got John Blau from the Post and Courier talking Clemson athletics here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Let's flip it over, John, to some actual sports. Clemson taking 2 out of the 3 against Georgia Tech, an 11-4 win to open it up, a 14-12 loss on Saturday, and then got it back to the right side with a 9-3 yesterday, including some very good pitching over the weekend. Give us just a general sense of this series before we get into the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's their third straight ACC series win. They've won all 3 2-1. And the offense in particular, I think, is just absolutely outstanding for Clemson. They had a little bit of a slump there mid-season from the batter's box, but to score 11 runs 12 runs, 9 runs in those games. That's absolutely spectacular for them. The one issue was the middle game, game 2. It was a doubleheader on Friday. Your bullpen gives up 11 runs in 3 innings, and so you end up losing 14-12. So I think just in terms of the general momentum of things and the way things are trending, I think getting a third straight ACC series win was important for them. They've battled through some injuries in terms of, obviously, Will Taylor's been out. He's going to be out probably till the postseason. Tristan Smith is kind of still getting his rhythm back. The lefty pitcher, after he missed a month with an ankle injury, and Aiden Canuck. Again, I might be getting too much in the nuts and bolts of it, but he was off for a week at Louisville in terms of fatigue, and he comes back and pitches really well for 4 innings in the Sunday game. So yeah, I mean, mostly positive. Obviously, you hate if you're Clemson the middle game, the bullpen kind of blowing it there, and you lose. But to win another series, I think was a positive for Clemson.
Looking at that middle game, because you mentioned it a couple times, and that is the bullpen. You got 6 out of Ethan Darden before you had to switch over, and then you got a handful of guys that were able to go, a third of an inning, 2/3 of an inning, and that's really kind of it. Is that going to be, if Clemson finds themselves, whether it's the ACC tournament or super regionals or wherever, if they find themselves up against the wall, is back-end pitching going to be why?
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking the snapshot right now, I mean, it could be an issue, but you never know. I mean, obviously, again, the batter's box, they had some issues there for a couple of weeks. They seem to have snapped out of that. We've seen good innings from the likes of Drew Titsworth and Reed Garris and Austin Gordon, and those are the 3 that gave up all the runs in the kind of the blow up against Georgia Tech. So they have guys. Again, I think Titsworth and Gordon and Reed Garris and Lucas Malstead came in that first game and pitched 4 2/3 innings when Tristan Smith was kind of scuffling a little bit. They have guys. It should have enough to be able to get through postseason games. But yeah, I mean, in recent games, there have been some instances where the bullpen really has not been able to close things down the way you want them to. And is that concerning? Absolutely. But again, it's baseball. So, you can have, a week or 2 there where you're not quite pitching as well, and you find yourself later, days or weeks later. So I think it is concerning now, but it will be very interesting, with Wake Forest coming up, going on the road there to see how they perform there, because then you get a better sense of if this is really a trend or it's just kind of a bad or kind of a rough patch for the bullpen there.
John Blau covers Clemson athletics for the Post and Courier. You can follow him on Twitter at JON_BLAU. Joins us every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson sports. Big Dog, I know that was a lot. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you next week, pal.
No problem. Thanks, Rob.
You got it. John Blau from the Post and Courier. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in we got like another minute. Kill a minute.
Yeah, a couple minutes. Yeah.
We'll talk some South Carolina baseball when we come back. Segue. That's what I'm supposed to do here. I'm good at this, Well, I've been doing it a couple of years now.
It's that thing where you explain what's coming up in the next hour.
Some people call it a tease. Either way.
I think it's what the boss calls it.
I think the boss calls it a tease, so we'll call it a tease, shall we? When we come back here in just a minute, the NFL has once again decided to do something that is bad for the fans. I know it's been weird because the last couple of years, I've actually been kind of giving them credit for doing more good than bad, but they decided it's been long enough. We've done enough. We need to do something that makes it harder to be a fan. And they did. And it cost Michael Irvin his job. We'll talk about that. Bat and lead off in the next hour of the show. If you guys want to, I can complain about baseball umpires again because they continue to show their backsides nationally to the point I believe it is actually becoming a problem. We have got round 2 of the NBA playoffs underway. Cavs Celtics in the second round. We'll talk about that. Talk more about the Timberwolves and how Rob Brown acknowledges he fell asleep on Minnesota. We'll talk about that. Lonzo didn't. He's putting the one up. Acknowledge him. And we'll get into the NHL as the bunch of jerks up in Raleigh, North Carolina are now in a hole as we get through round number 2 of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. But before we get to any of those things, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to sit back. If there's one in reach, go ahead and light a candle. Maybe pour a glass of red wine. I know it's early, but trust me, the sultry tones of this sports flash will be worth it.
Yeah, I'm never going to be Bill Brooks, no matter how much I want to be. South Carolina's baseball team took 2 of 3 to win a road series at Missouri. With a 94 win yesterday, starting Dylan Eskew was bounced after surrendering 4 earned runs in 1.1 innings, but Garrett Gainey and Connor McCreary picked up the next 6.1 with no runs allowed. Cole Messina and Blake Jackson both recorded 3 of the Gamecocks' 13 hits. Clemson baseball took 2 out of 3 against Georgia Tech with a 9-2 win at home yesterday. Aiden Kunak and Billy Barlow both hurled 4 innings, giving up 2 and 3 hits respectively, while Cam Canarella and Jaron Purify both had multi-hit days. Hey, make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news, all Wire to Wire. 7 was the word that I struggled with. 7. Wow. This is too many words, man. Too many words. Steven, I don't know, dude. I blame it on Monday, but I'm not the kind of guy that goes, oh no, it's Monday. Well, now Rob's got me doing the voice. I love my job, and I don't know why I can't do it well. I just you'd think after all this time I'd be better at it, but you know, I'm gonna blame it on the writers. Thank you. I needed that chastisement. I needed that slap on the wrist. Thankfully, I have no more of those to do today. So, you know. In the end, Stephen, I'm going to blame it on the rain that's been falling. Yes.
Imagine Bill Brooks is sitting back, eating his lox bagel with capers and sipping his espresso, completely judging Alonzo's sports break.
So do I. So do I.
You think we could get Bill Brooks on the show just for anything?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe we could send him random stuff to read for us.
Maybe. I also don't want to ruin my vision of what, you know. No, it's Bill. Phil is a totally different guy. Admittedly, my brain is elsewhere, realizing that I haven't started something that needs to be done in 2 days.
Yeah,
and I can't. It's very distracting. Because I want to start working on it in my head about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and I need to stop. I'm also trying to decide, okay, do I just go get lunch and come back, or do I just work on it at home? Mondays are usually a slow day for me.
Yeah.
Although I have some catching up to do on other stuff. Panic is necessary for motivation. I also have the theory, and I'll have to test it, that nobody else has done anything yet either, which also will be my fault. So I'm going to go down and have a talk with some other people.
What if we're the only ones in Colombia?
No. Wow. I have to go motivate others. I hope I go down and find out, oh, yeah, I had that done last week. Then I feel guilty, but I'm also happy because I.
It's news. The Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on the Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
Jim Rome in the jungle.
Home for DJ joining us. He teamed up with Michael Penix Jr. to form one of the most lethal quarterback receiver tandems in the nation last year. And what do you think he's going to bring to the NFL?
For me, Michael Penix is quarterback one. I think he's very unique in his skill set. He's very talented in that.
Who's he play for again?
Same team as Bo Nix. Oh, still got the John Blah banner up. Y'all gotta let me know. Y'all gotta keep me straight.
Yeah, where you at, Steven? It's all your fault, man. You should have pointed that out.
I'm going home to watch the Brady roast because I've heard it's hysterical.
He did not block any of those bullets, Steven. Trust me. I know he didn't block any of mine because I seen where every single one of them hit. And I made it through the entire clip for the first time.
And away we go. The final hour of the Rob Brown Radio Show starts right now on the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you on a dreary upstate Monday morning. But hey, you got to have a little rain to appreciate the sunshine, don't you? Or something like that. Whatever else I need to tell myself to prevent myself from going home and napping, because it's a perfect nap. Just a perfect nap day. It's perfect nap day.
Wait, it's May. The showers are supposed to be over, right? But since we never really got them in April, they're just moving a little bit late.
Making up
That's
for
all.
it. Making up for
Your
it.
pepper garden's got to get some water.
It does. It does. I didn't water it because I thought it was going to rain, and here we are. So worked out great. The Peppa Fiesta is on. Hey, let's talk about this for just a minute. It has been a little while since the NFL did something that directly makes it harder to be a sports fan, or at least to be an NFL fan. And since it has been a little while since they found a way to make it difficult to be an NFL fan, it's time. So, last week, there was a bit of a moment when unexpectedly Michael Irvin was released from the NFL Network. There was a lot of...
See, that I remember seeing that and didn't think it was... he gets in trouble a lot.
He got in trouble the one time for the story about potentially having
there's been other...
had an involvement and interaction with a young woman.
There's been other instances and altercations, if I recall correctly.
There has been. He's had words with people in the past, whatever. But Mike Irvin brought something to the NFL net that not many people can. A very, very inside relationship with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, but he managed to weave Dallas into every single conversation to the point where you just want to turn him off and hear about the rest of the league. You know, I'm not a Cowboy hater like some people, but he could almost make me be that because he could not do a segment without putting the Cowboys in there.
Correct. And as a TV bro, or at least a former TV bro, I can tell you, you've heard the phrase before, Lonzo, play the hits. We get that in radio all the time, right? Play the hits. At the end of the day, people can tell you all the time, well, I don't want X and I don't want. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And you know what proves you do? The ratings, the numbers. You play the hits. There is a reason that no matter how many sports are going on right now, baseball's in its regular season, the NBA playoffs are good, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are good, NASCAR is hitting the meat and taters of their season. No matter how many good sports are going on right now, football is going to be on every show that we do. Why? Because it's what the people want. And you don't have to like it. In fact, I actively dislike it. You don't have to like it, but the Dallas Cowboys are a focus in America's number one sport, professional football. And so when you can have not just a former Cowboy, but a Cowboy legend that still has an active relationship and can tell behind-the-scenes stories from America's most bandwagon-y football team, even though it does get a little obnoxious at times, at the end of the day, that inside, behind-the-scenes, very personally connected view of the number one most viewed football team in America is very valuable to them. So why did Mike suddenly catch the pink slip out of nowhere? Oh, and by the way, in case you missed it, aside from all the personalities that have been leaving for some time, including America's favorite football personality, Kay Adams, they also canceled NFL Total Access. That show, great one, has been on the air since 2003. 21 years.
And I watched it a bunch when it first started, and then I think as the personalities switched out, it kind of lost something for me.
I mean, sure. I mean, NFL Total Access, I was not watching when it started. I was in high school and had more important things to do, obviously. But over the years, as personalities like Kay Adams have rotated through there have been stretches of the show that I very much liked. And there have been stretches of the show where I thought it lost a little something. But it was on the air 21 years. Just like anything that happens for 21 years, the times, they change. The characters, they change. The personnel, they changed. And that's what happened here. So why cancel it after 21 years? Why fire Mike? And oh, by the way, there are more firers coming. There are more firings that are coming down the stretch.
So is this like a WWE cuts here and there, or is this a major shaking up of personalities?
I'm glad you asked, great one. The rumor, the smoke in the air right now, according to Front Office Sports, an organization and outlet that actually does a pretty good job of reporting sports news from a business perspective. They are reporting that the NFL Network, which had a round of layoffs last week, will be, quote, airing an altered programming schedule this upcoming season, is working on a deal right now where ESPN will acquire at least some part of the NFL Network. New York Post columnist Andrew Marchand reported that the NFL and ESPN were in talks about the league taking an equity stake in the network. In a concurrent move, the report said NFL Network programming and NFL.com would transition to being under ESPN's programming umbrella. Let me tell you why I think this is bad for the fans. I think it's bad for the fans because if the largest sports broadcasting outlet in America is in control of the NFL's actual media, it also means that the NFL is going to have some level of control over ESPN. There was a story from, last year and a half ago, where somebody found an email from Adam Schefter that was sent to a team owner / GM. I don't remember which one, to be honest with you. I should, but I'm a big dummy. What do you want?
Oh, this is one of my favorites. You talk about playing the hits.
Yeah. Shefty sent an email to, I want to say it was an owner. It may have been a GM. Either way, he said, here's the deal, broski. I got some news about your team, and it's not exactly great news. And I do have to report it. But this is how I would like to report it. Is this good with you? Write me back an LMK. And basically, it created an image.
Let me know.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. We'll get you there. Rob teaches Lonzo internet lingo is a segment we need to do. So Shefty said, I got this story. I got to report it. Here's the narrative that I plan on running with. Are you good with it? And then he waited for a response email from the team official in question before he ran with that story. And so basically what it looked like was, although I do think it was as simple as Shefty trying to make his inside contacts as happy as possible so that on draft day, he was getting those texts while he's on the air with McAfee and goes, well, I can break this right now. So-and-so is signing so-and-so. So-and-so's getting cut tomorrow. So-and-so's getting traded, whatever the case might be. And when that happened, a lot of us lost a lot of trust in Adam Schefter, because if you are allowing a team to steer a narrative about a player personnel move, then it's not that far of a logical leap to make the assumption that when something bad happens, when something that might change the direction of the franchise that I invest in, whether it is my time, my energy, my money, or my emotion, when something bad happens with the team that I love within the league that it participates in, I can't trust you to report on it accurately. I have to assume, as Lonzo points out, every time we report a Shefty bomb here on the show, do you really trust that? Do you really believe that's what happened? Do you really believe that this is how it played out? Or is this Shefty giving you the narrative that was created by that team or by the league itself? And the unfortunate thing is, he's right to feel that way. He's absolutely justified in feeling that way. It is at a point where it is very difficult to trust Adam Schefter. So now the sports outlet that, while I do think it is losing a little bit of steam, while I do think it is probably not as reputable as it used to be, ESPN is still, without a doubt, the largest, most viewed, most interacted with sports news outlet in America. And if they are going to officially climb into bed with the NFL, it is just one more way that the NFL gets to always be in control of the narrative. Because if they have a stake in ESPN and ESPN has a stake in them, and all of the NFL, or even some of the NFL's production, and again, according to the New York Post, NFL Network programming and NFL.com programming would transition to being under ESPN's production umbrella. If it is under the production umbrella and they are going to be $2 billion businesses in bed with each other, do you not think it's going to be a whole lot of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours? Of course it is. Which means that the likelihood of us getting complete, accurate, and total reports of what is happening around the league just went down. Just went down a lot. So when player X gets arrested or Coach Y gets in trouble because he was in a massage parlor too late one night or whatever, now when that gets reported upon, we've talked about the skepticism. I've told you guys, whenever you get a news story, you should be skeptical. If whatever.com reports that, Clemson found a loophole in the lawsuit, they're leaving the ACC tomorrow. Okay, like where is that coming from? Where is your information based here? What is it rooted in? Is this a person that has a long history of being reputable? That's what was so disappointing about the Shefty story a couple of years ago. Because Adam Schefter, for a very long time, was a guy that was very reputable. He was the first guy to break stories. He seemed to break stories accurately and fairly. He didn't really seem to dive too deep into opinion, into editorializing those stories. He didn't seem to be a guy who lived and died, as so many at his level do, by the hot take. He genuinely seemed to be a cat that when he reported the news, you could take it to the bank that that's how it was. And then one day he wasn't anymore. And then one day he's a guy that when he reports it, I'm going to find another source before I say anything about it. I'm going to find another source to see if there's anybody else that is reporting the same thing, because if not, then my brain automatically clicks to, oh, well, he's reporting about the Saints. I bet Mickey Loomis told him to say it. He's reporting about the Panthers. I bet Dave Tepper is in his ear. I bet Dan Morgan's in his ear. And when I invest as much as I invest into football, I want to know what's going on, man. I want to know what the truth of the scenario is. And if the NFL is going to allow all of its content to be produced by ESPN, that means that they are going to have full editorial power over that. They're going to be able to say, kill that story. Kill that story about that wide receiver committing domestic violence. Kill that story. Or play it down. Don't release that story until 3:30 a.m. on a Wednesday so that we can, stay out ahead of it and hopefully prevent it from really taking off in the public eye. The fact that they are allowing this to go down, the way that this appears that it is going to go down, is bad. It's bad for the fans. It's bad for the fans. You want your sports outlets to be unbiased. You want your sports outlets to give you the news and only the news, and then let us build our own hot takes from there. But this is the kind of stuff that makes it just makes it more difficult to like them. Because anytime a story comes up, they're on the horn. Hey, executive producer of the next show that's coming up on your network, we're going to need you not to talk about this. Or, why don't, instead of us focusing on the running back who caught a DUI last night, let's really hammer that it's Military Appreciation Weekend. That'll get everybody on our side, right? That's the direction that this is going to go. And it's sad and it's frustrating. And it's exactly the way a big business operates. And there's really nothing we can do about it. Anyway, enjoy your Monday, everybody. When we come back here in just a minute, got a few more stories we will sprint through, and then we will call it a day. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Oh, blah. I did not. Let me gander upon it. Give me a second while I go check that out, guys. right, dudes.
Just had a wonderful conversation with a personality down the hallway about Tiffany Stratton. He brought it up, asking me if I was a fan. And I said, I don't know. And I said, I guess I'm kind of a fan, but Rob Brown is such a big fan that it makes me not be one. And he said, I completely get that.
He's Tiffy time.
He's the same way. When someone else is so gung-ho on someone, it makes you go, ah. And we tried to figure out, why she's dating Ludwig Kaiser, and I just think it has to do with the abs.
She did an interview the other day, like an out-of-character interview the other day, and she said in real life he is hilarious.
He looks like he would be. Actually.
She said in real life she said he is the most opposite of his on-screen character of anybody in the locker room.
That's like what Adam Cole is.
Yeah.
I mean, totally different person.
Yep.
I think it's easier to be that guy because you're acting all the way.
The duality of man is my crush on both Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton. The two most opposite people in the game.
Oh, they kind of have the same attitude.
Not incorrect.
And yes, we have wrestling conversations in the restroom and everywhere because there's a good portion of the upstairs that are wrestling fans. And believe it or not, Rob and I are known as wrestling fans.
Shocking, I know.
And the person who may have a number for their name is someone who I have conversations with about that stuff all the time. You ain't getting it from me, Wesley. Get you some sleep, man. DVR and watch it in the morning.
Yep.
Get up early and watch it in the morning.
For that one, buddy. As much as I want to watch it, I'm not even staying up for that one. Wesley just said, I need some encouragement to stay up to watch Nuggets versus Wolves tonight at 10:30. And the answer from Lonzo and I is nope. You're not getting inspiration from us, pal. I can promise you, as much as I know that I'm going to love this series as a whole, my dude, nope. Ain't no chance. Ain't no way.
Well, so
no way.
I'm predicting a Denver blowout. I think it's going to be blowout one game, blowout. They're just going to go back and forth.
I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a back and forth. I also wouldn't be surprised if we flip-flop the home courts. Like if Minnesota wins again tonight, but then Denver goes to Minnesota and takes the first two there, and we just flip it over. I don't know ultimately how this series is going to play out. What I do know is that Anthony Damn Edwards is a star, man. Like an absolute star. This guy does everything well. And Karl Anthony Towns behind him is genuinely the perfect supplemental player for him. He is the perfect supplemental player. You could not, they're like, I hate to be cliche, but they're like jigsaw puzzle pieces, man. They just fit in so exceptionally well with each other that it's impressive, to be honest with you. I have thoroughly enjoyed watching this team play. As I mentioned back in the first hour of the show, I owe an apology to everybody because I clearly fell asleep And we barely acknowledged that the Wolves swept the Suns. That's a good Suns team, man. That's not like a joke of a team. That's a good Suns team, and they swept them off the board. Again, it's not a great Suns team, but Kevin Durant, we don't need to get back into the argument about whether or not he is generational, but he certainly is one of the most elite scorers even today at his age. He is still one of the most elite scorers in the game. You got Devin Booker, Devin Booker, my guy. Love that guy as well. I don't know, man. Like I talked about the fact that the Nuggets gentleman's sweep of the Lake Show is impressive. Because even though they are older, even though they're not the 2020, the COVID bubble Lakers, they're still a very good basketball team. And you know what you're getting out of playoff Bron. You're getting a hell of a performance. He just shows up. And yet the Nuggets went in there and did what they do. Let him run up a score. Let him get up 20. Let him have the first quarter lead. Let him have the first half lead. Hell, let him have the third quarter lead. There's only one lead that matters. The lead when the final whistle sounds. And Denver got that 4 out of 5 times. And frankly, the Lake Show was lucky to get the one when they did win. So for all I sat here and talked about how damn impressive the Denver Nuggets were for doing what they did to the LA Lakers, I should have been saying more about the Timberwolves and what they did to the Phoenix Suns, which was even better because PHX, they weren't holding leads like the LA Lakers were. They were just out of that series from the jump. We should be talking more about that team. However, a 10:30 tip sucks so much. I'm not watching that game. And it's not out of a lack of desire to. This is, I told you last week, this is to me the best series in the second round. I am not all excited about the Boston series. I think that's going to be a snoozer. I'm not all excited about the Knicks series. I think that's going to be a bit of a snoozer. Thunder series against Dallas might be interesting, but that's if and only if Luka Doncic averages a triple-double. If he does not average a triple-double in this series, the Thunder are going to win that series. And I'll keep it a buck. Great one. I think Minnesota-Denver will be a better series than Oklahoma City-Denver or Oklahoma City-Minnesota. I think that, to me, this is the Western Conference Finals. Denver-Minnesota is the Western Conference Finals. That's why I'm geeked up about this series. I think this series is going to determine who goes to the NBA Finals. I will take a series bet in the Western Conference Finals of whoever wins this Western Conference semifinal. But that's just me. Anthony Edwards is a star. He was able to outdo. And remember, go back to Friday when we were breaking the series down a little bit. I said, this has got to be a Jamal Murray series. Well, one thing that I also brought up when we were having that discussion, the wing defense of the Timberwolves might be as good as anybody, might be better than everybody else in the league. The Timberwolves play wing defense as well as anybody else. Where does Jamal Murray get the majority of his points from? From the wing. From the wing. Free throw line extended or down to the corner, and then it's a drive and dish, or it's a drive and a pull-up J, or it's a drive to the rack and lay it up. Whichever one you open the door for, he's going to take it. The wing defense for this Minnesota team effectively negates the best thing that Jamal Murray has in the bag. So it is still got to be a Jamal Murray game, but it's got to be a Jamal Murray game without the strongest part of his bag available to him. I love the series. I do. By the way, I saw this morning, this was an interesting number. In playoff games, the Denver Nuggets, when Nikola Jokic has over 25 field goal attempts. 25. It's not a stupid high number. That includes putbacks on rebounds, etc. When Nikola Jokic has over 25 field goal attempts in a game, Lonzo, the Denver Nuggets are 4-6 with a point differential of -65. What? If you ask Nikola Jokic, who is right now, in my ever so humble opinion, the best basketball player on planet Earth, if you ask him to shoot more than 25 field goals in a game, the Nuggets lose more than they win, and they are being outscored by about 6.5 points per game in the process. So if you know that going into this game, you got Rudy Gobert, who is maybe the best defensive big man in the game today. I'm struggling to come up with somebody else I put in that mix. But Rudy Gobert, the best defensive big man in the game right now, means Nikola Jokic is one-on-one underneath. Because if I can get Gobert on Jokic underneath, and I know that they're going to have MPJ on one side, and they're going to put Jamal Murray on the other side with the ball coming up the floor, I want to force it to Jokic, right? I want to get it inside to Jokic. That means this has got to be a three-man game. It's got to be the old Phil Jackson triangle game. It's got to be a point. It's got to be a wing. It's got to be a big man. And you've got to try to create a spot where you get either the post man on the back of Jokic, which is Gobert, and then it's either the point defender collapses down, the wing defender collapses down, and whichever one collapses down to help with Jokic, he dishes back out to that guy. The problem is Rudy Gobert doesn't need a lot of help, right? That offense works when your big man needs a little help down low. Rudy Gobert doesn't need a lot of help. Nikola Jokic is still going to get his, but I would rather he get his and take Murray and Porter Jr. out of the equation altogether and say, yo, big dog, if you get us, you're the best basketball player on planet Earth. If you get us, you get us. I'll tell you who's not going to get us. Any damn body else. Nobody else is going to pick up for you if you're not banging shots through the net. And in game one, that's exactly what happened. So I look forward to DVRing game two and watching it tomorrow, I guess. All right, let's take a break. Got a couple more stories. Dabo Swinney has spoken out about the 12-team playoff. We'll tell you what he had to say up next. Maybe one more baseball story, maybe a little hacky. We'll see where we get in the final segment of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Oh, you gotta be joking me.
Wow.
That's a throwback, right? Iconic.
bundle auto and home, renters, or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash of the Fan Upstate.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent full life will calibrate all collisions and provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Wow, honey, have you seen the electric bill?
Yeah, it's out of control. But have you heard of Navient tankless water heaters?
Tankless. How does that even work?
No, instead of constantly heating storing water, it only heats water when you need it. So much more efficient.
You have this yet?
No.
It's the white frame. If you like a Sonic Route 44.
Don't believe I've ever had one. of
Oh
those.
man, the Route 44 is that's a goat level bit of enjoyment.
Don't go to Sonic very much anymore because of how low the car is. And, drive-throughs, don't do that either.
Dabo Swinney spoken out about the 12-team college football playoff. He was on Sirius XM's College Sports Radio Friday morning with Danny Cannell and Dusty Voracek. Had a discussion about the 2024 season, which is just a few over 100 days away. Of course, Clemson opens the season against Georgia at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the ATL on August 31st. Swinney pretty upbeat about the 12-team format. We have talked about this a little bit. The four highest ranked conference champions amongst the SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and Big 12 will be seeded 1, 2, 3, 4. Those four teams will receive first round buys. Teams seeded 5 through 12 will all receive at-large bids and play each other in the first round of the playoff on the home field of the highest ranked seed. Under last year's CFP seedings, a 12-team playoff in 2023 would have given buys to Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. FSU, which finished 5th in the final CFP standings, would have hosted number 12 Liberty at Doak Campbell in the first round. You'd have Georgia versus Ole Miss in the first round, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here is on that show what Dabo Swinney had to say about the 12-team playoff.
It'll be fun. You embrace it. I mean, that's one of those things we were talking about earlier. I mean, things happen. You adapt as you go. I mean, we didn't have a playoff, and then it was whatever BCS, and then you get the 4-team, and now we're going to 12, and then for a cup of coffee, and then we're going somewhere else. So it'll be fun. This is a weird time in college football because there's so many changes at one time. And so, you just put your head down and focus on what you're doing and making sure that you put yourself in the best possible, position to have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, that's really kind of where you are in this game now. It's all about trying to have a chance to make the playoffs. And, we went in the Final Four. I think we had the second most appearances. I think we were the only one I think we went 6 years in a row and got the second most wins. So we've proven we can do it with 4. So we definitely feel like that with 12 or 16 or wherever it's going to end up that we're a playoff caliber team. And you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. So, we're excited about the opportunity, and it starts with, your path there. And I think, it always starts with trying to win your conference. I think that's the number one thing, because especially with the way they're making the rules now with the buys and all that type of stuff. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go through this new phase, with everybody and see how it all plays out.
So there you have it. There's Dabo Swinney's comments. I'm moving to the 12 team. He said, we're going to go to 12, stop there for a cup of coffee, and then it's on to whatever's next after that. Talking about upshifting to a potentially 16-team playoff.
I was going to say later on, he mentioned 16, so he knows it's going to 16.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I guess the point of this is we all see the writing on the wall, right? Like, this is a pit stop at 12. This is an experiment at 12. This is let's see what kinks form when we go with a 12 team. And that way we can kind of knock those out of the way before we inevitably get to the 16 team playoff. Listen, that's pretty standard coach answer, right? Oh, it goes to win the I promise you, if you talk to any coach ever, whether it's divisions or conferences or whatever, they're going to say goal one is to win that thing. Of course it is. Of course it is. It's a pretty standard coaching answer that he gave to Danny Kanell and Dusty Dvorak. But to me, the interesting thing out of that entire answer was the fact that Dabo pretty much just said that at the very least, he believes that the 12-team playoff is a stopgap at the best.
I don't know. That sounds like he had knowledge that is happening.
I mean, it is happening. This isn't a question mark to me. This is a statement. This isn't a prediction. It is a spoiler alert, as the wise man would say. It is it is inevitable. So, yeah, but I would say, is it fair? Is it fair for playoffs or bust to be the expectation for Clemson every year? I would say, yeah, right?
Until they leave the ACC.
Until they leave the ACC. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. It's going to be a different world then, Jack. I also saw a bunch of people this weekend. I am going to go back to Nick Saban for this. If you missed it back in the first hour of the show, I played a little clip from Nick Saban.
It amazes me that some guy sits in his basement, probably in his mom's house, probably in his underwear, probably overweight, and he puts something on the internet and anybody cares about what he thinks.
Ha 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 ha.
America. If you don't like it, Nick, don't read it.
Hey, Nick, it was funnier when Chuck said it.
You just sit at home in your grandma's basement with your drawers on, typing on your damn keyboard. Shut the hell up.
I wonder who said that first. Who coined the phrase about mom's basement?
I mean, you live with your mom has always been a pretty good insult, despite the fact that.
How's that? That's in today's age, children are staying at home a lot longer because economically it makes more sense.
Yup. I read the other day, I think it's like 37% of Americans under the age of 27 still live at their parents' house. Like, yeah, it's tough. It's hard out there on the streets, man. It's rough out there in the streets. Anyway, Nick, it was funnier when Chuck said it. Yada, yada, yada. My take on Nick. My take on Nick was very simple. It's our game too, bud. Like, we get to talk about it, right? Congratulations on the $300 million or whatever it was that you made by being a coach. I am not hating the player, nor am I hating the game. I am happy for you. You've carved out a very good life for yourself. Miss Terry seems like an amazing lady. You outkicked your coverage. Good for you. Okay? Good for you. But to go with everybody who gets on the internet and talks about college football is a fat underwear-clad loser in their mom's basement.
There might be some.
Oh, for sure.
We don't know.
For sure there are.
If-
There's very few things I like more than sitting at the Bro Cave in my boxer. If you've ever read one of my tweets that I sent out after 10 p.m., please know I was 90% naked when I sent it. Okay? I was in boxers
Well, they're not saying
and
he
a
didn't.
tank top at best.
I was going to say he didn't say he didn't have a shirt on. So if you are at home doing that, make sure you send all your pictures to Wire to Wire.
Please just inundate their Twitter feed with fat underwear-clad boxer-wearing dudes.
And then say, welcome back, Diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
If you have read a tweet from Rob Brown that has got 2 digits in the PM time, please know I was probably 90% of the way to nude at the point that I sent it. Okay.
And you guys need to respond to that by going, go to sleep.
Yeah, you do. You do. I need the damn motivation. The point here is no, it's
And not you up, because obviously he is. So, I mean, yeah.
and naked. The takeaway here for me remains no, Nick, it's our game too. You made $300 million and good on you for doing it, but you don't do that if there weren't 100,000+ screaming Nickomaniacs filling up Bryant-Denny Stadium any given Saturday throughout your career. You just don't. Nobody cares about a championship team that plays their championship games in front of 8 people. Nobody cares. There's a billion other college sports out there that have dynasties that none of us know about because we don't care. We care about this. We care about this a lot. And so to hit it up with, well, a bunch of somebody gets on the internet and they're fatting in their mom's basement. Do we take them seriously? Yeah, because we're all fans, man.
Anyone in that audience, you should be ashamed of yourself because you're fueling this. You're causing this phrase to continue. Don't clap. Don't laugh. Just be silent when anyone uses this phrase and it'll go away.
Dude, I get it. I'm down for a good joke. I'm down for it. I can't wait. As soon as I get off the air, I'm going home because I got to pull all my play-by-play broadcasts for the past year. And while I'm doing that, I'll be watching the roast of Tom Brady because it got absolutely savage last night when Kevin Hart said, by the way, your ex-wife Giselle is here supporting you tonight. Bad news is she came as Antonio Brown's +1. God, it's brutal. And I can't wait to watch it because I love me mean humor. Okay? I'm a big fan of roast, a good roast. And from what I understand, last night's roast apparently was gonna join Robin Williams live on Broadway as the greatest comedy things ever filmed.
If Don Rickles was not involved, I'm not interested.
Dude, I've seen some of the clips so far.
Yeah, so have I.
You're gonna be interested.
And it's just it's not my kind of humor. So I know the people whose kind of humor it is. Yeah, I know. I know you're one. And
it's me.
And
that's me. He's talking about me.
And several people in the audience. So yes.
Correct. I can't wait to watch it. The point is to circle back around. Nick.
The Aaron Rodriguez the jokes that's just too far.
Aaron Rodriguez?
No, Hernandez.
No, he's Aaron Rodriguez now.
Whatever. I gotta stop. I don't know what my problem is today.
And introducing your starting quarterback for the New York Jets, wearing number 12, Aaron Rodriguez.
I thought I was WWE creative under Vince McMahon for a moment. I apologize.
He comes to the field in like a lowrider.
I in the back of my head is screaming, no, you're saying the wrong name. You're saying the wrong. What are you doing? Shut up. And it's too late. It's too late.
Anyway, Nick, we like this game and we're allowed to talk about this game. We're going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about this game forever. We love this game. That's why all of this is something we are invested in because we love the game. We're not all fat. I'm a fat guy who's in his boxers. I'm not in my mom's basement. Okay. I know some guys that are in their mom's basement, not fat guys.
They don't have basements in Florida, do they?
No, we do not.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no need for basements. We have entire rooms named after our state. In our state, you have a Florida room. That's where you hang out.
Oh, okay? I get it now. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, point here is, Nick. Yeah, we talk about it. All of that being said, my other favorite thing was that a random ass Twitter account this weekend. I don't know how this works. Maybe I'm not good enough at my job. A random ass Twitter account this weekend sent out a tweet that said that the SEC is unlikely to invite Clemson. And it's like, all right, how do you mean it? Because unlikely to invite Clemson before their ACC grant of rights is terminated, then yes, you are very correct. If you mean unlikely to invite them after their grant of rights is out there, my question is, sir or madam, how the hell do you know that? Because as of right now, with not one, but two very large lawsuits going off against the Atlantic Coast Conference, they have been remarkably tight-lipped about this. And you, random account with 300 followers, you know what the SEC plans on doing in the future when they don't?
Don't do that random account thing. You basically just said mom's basement when you do that.
Yeah, the difference is this is definitively a random account. No name, no identifying information, just a random Twitter account. I'm not saying the person running it is a fat, sweaty loser in their mom's basement.
You're just a loser or a jackass. You can be A or B.
But they probably are.
All right, Rob mentioned Tom Brady earlier. Tom Brady is Xing.
If you haven't watched the roast yet, you're not alone. I have not either.
All right, I just gotta say it. He admitted to deflating the ball.
He did
yes,
not.
he did.
No,
yes, he did.
not.
I heard the quote.
No,
he admitted
not.
it. He admitted
No,
it.
he did
Yes,
not.
yes. All right.
What he said
Go ahead,
was,
defend him. Go ahead and defend him. You could just pay me the $20 million, and I could have told you that.
That's not what he said.
That's what I heard.
What he said was they did a $20 million investigation to find out if I deflated footballs. What he said was, if you would have just given me the $20 million, I would have said I did it. Which is, yes, if they would have come to me and said, Rob, here's $20 million, we want to blame Deflategate on you, you're damn right.
Stop all your propaganda over there. He admitted it.
Hatred over there.
He admitted it.
He did not.
I don't hate him. I just don't like cheaters.
He said for $20 million, he would have saved them the time of the investigation.
All right, let's move on. He admitted it. The next thing that's Xing is CM Punk.
Phil? Why is Phil trying to know why Phil's
trying? He got trapped in Connecticut in headquarters.
Was it snowing again?
No, people didn't know he was in there, and they locked the doors. So he did I don't know if it's a work or a shoot, but he did an entire thing that he was there.
Like an escape
no,
from Las Vegas,
he was like there supposedly there 24 hours. Yes,
I like it.
Yes.
Okay. Can I tell you?
He hit the Undertaker's statue somewhere. There's just a lot of things.
Yes. Is it just me? And I hate to say it. Is it just me, or has CM Punk kind of been likable since he came back?
He has been.
He kind of been likable since he came back.
It's annoying.
He's doing good work. He's very involved. I saw a video from Raw, the Go Home Raw before Backlash this weekend, where a young girl had a sign that said CM poop.
Yeah.
And it had an emoji, a poop emoji, but like his wrist in front of it. And he went out of his way to go find that girl and sign and take pictures with her. And you could tell she was immediately like, oh man.
Yeah.
He's nice.
Yeah, that's why he did that. He just diffused the whole situation.
Awesome.
All right, we'll stick with wrestling. Michael Cole is Xing.
I cannot tell you how much fun I have had watching Michael Cole have fun since the addition of Pat McAfee.
That's why he's Xing.
Yep.
And McAfee wasn't even there. By the way.
McAfee wasn't even there during Backlash when Jey Uso came out, which, by the way, and I'm going to say this, that's the best wrestling crowd I've seen in years.
Yes.
I mean, that's the best wrestling crowd I've seen since probably
when they're getting DB warnings on their watches saying it's dangerously loud in there. Yeah,
that was the best wrestling crowd we have seen in years. And when Jay came out, since Pat wasn't there to jump on the desk and yeet with him, Mike just did it on his own. He's like, I'm too old to get on the desk, but I can yeet. It was great.
Lots of videos of him. Speaking of eating, this is a continuation of that. The Cavs played Jay's theme song.
Okay, listen to me. The Cavs played Jay's theme song. There is a cat that is a reliever for the Padres. He now comes out, when he comes out to close a game, to the Undertaker's theme song. For a lot of years, everybody was coming out with the yes chant every time something happened. I don't know how to tell you all. Wrestling is pop culture.
Professional wrestling is cool.
It's the best. It's the best.
Dakota Kai. is Xing.
She needs a she got to do something.
Birthday. How old?
31.
36.
Oh.
Yes. And lastly, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is trending, and because 40 years ago when it came out.
Jeez Louise, that hurt a little bit. I was born at the same time as the Turtles. Oh, that one's...
Wait, you're almost 40?
Well, I'll tell you what. If I don't break my hip walking down the stairs, we'll come back tomorrow. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, but better, I hope. It's actually said right now I have a picture of Rob in my head naked with only his phone to cover him.
Oh, my hip.
See you tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later.
Yeah.
Please be careful going down the stairs. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be some prediction.
Hilariously, during the show, I got an email from my doctor, and I opened it, and all my cholesterol levels are very good, which is wonderful. And then I came to the realization that at almost 40 years of age, this is the first time I had ever once been concerned about my cholesterol levels.
I'm glad you got that checked out.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah. My hormones are all out of whack, so I'm a whack job right now, but feeling good. Feeling good.
No one has noticed that at all.
I made a career out of it. What happened to Soda Phillip? Old Pepsi Phil.
You should watch some of those videos of him being trapped in there.
Oh, we'll know.
It's hilarious. Then he comes back 24 hours later. There's people in the gym now. Maybe I can get out.
Oh, man.
I just want to believe that he really got trapped in there because that would be hilarious.
I do too. But if not, it's a funny gimmick.
If you just stuck with Big E, you'd have got out. But no, you go off on your own.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're all spectacular people. Thank you for being here. Tell your friends about us. We're back tomorrow, hopefully with a better camera angle than this weird one. See y'all tomorrow. Have a good day. Goodbye.